Kempire is brought to you by.
Have you rated the Kempire podcast? Kempire podcast is available on Google and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the places. But rating is very important for a podcast. As you know, we've been building the Kempire podcast in the last couple of years, and so many of you have rated it on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, but we're still trying to reach our goal. We're crawling to 500 on both Spotify and on Apple. Shout out to those of you that have given us glowing reviews and 5-star reviews. We appreciate it, but we're still not at our goal. And I know you guys are listening because the numbers are numbering. So be sure to subscribe, rate, review the Kempire podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And more information on our sponsors will be available in the description.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. Tonight's live is the so much more. As you know, you guys have been asking for me to do a speed dating event. You've been asking me to do another dating and astrology live. We did one last week that went on for hours. If you missed it, first of all, make sure you guys let me know if you can hear me loud and clear, more importantly. But you guys have been asking me to do another one. And of course, I told you, anything that I do, I'm going to elevate it every single time we do it. And this week, we have a special guest, a life coach, someone that I've utilized, someone that I've known for many, many years. We're going to bring her up in just a second. But today is a live show, our Dating and Astrology Live Heartbreak, Love After Heartbreak. It's sponsored by our friends over at Rose Forever. Rose Forever. Look at these roses. Gorgeous. Can you believe these are like 2 years old? Okay. So as you know, Rose Forever, your roses will last you at least a year. I know some of you were saying that you had a little bit of an issue with the discount code. I brought that to the attention of Rose Forever. So your discount code should be working. So double check that, okay? But Valentine's Day is literally a week away. So if you haven't gotten your gift for someone you love, what are you waiting on? Luckily, Rose Forever shipping is very, very fast. And of course, again, we've got your discount code Kempire20 for $20 off. More information on Rose Forever will be available in the description. So before we bring our guest up, a reminder. This is not exclusively just about your marriage or about someone you're currently dating. It's about relationships. It could be about past relationships. It could be about questions and advice. And as you know, we also implement the conversation around astrology, astrological signs. So feel free to bring up any of that. There will be a timer because first of all, we have to respect our guest's time. We can't be sitting around for 5 hours. Okay. Well, we'll see. But again, for those that will be calling in, if you are a member of the channel, I've already dropped the call link for Royal Court members and senior royals on the community tab on YouTube. Shout out to those of you that are watching on Twitter, those of you watching on Facebook, the Kempire and Kempire Daily on Facebook. We will be posting the call in link for the live chat, but you know what gets me dropping the live chat link early is liking the video. It's easy and it's free. It supports lives like this. Liking the video, watching the video, sharing the video, and telling me that you love these types of lives is very important because then I will do it. If you don't show up, if we don't, if it's not worth our time, we're not going to do it. So keep showing love by liking the video and sharing the video. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. It is a subscribers only live chat. Thank you to our King's Guards in the live chat and our members of the channel. Become a member today at teamkempire.com/join. And I know some of you are like, Kempire, you're live early. Calm down. I know you guys have things and thoughts and opinions, okay? So before we get into that, just a reminder in regards to our dating live. It's very important that we respect that this is a safe space. When I say safe space, that means we listen and we don't judge, okay? I know you probably are judging in your head, but we're not going to judge out loud, okay? A reminder, we listen and we don't judge. And we also want to just create a safe space for everyone, okay? Because people are coming on here being very vulnerable with their lives. So before we get into callers and things like that. Again, if you're a member, we already dropped the calling link for our Royal Court members and our senior royals. We will be dropping the calling link for our Team Kempire members in a moment. Once we get into our conversation, we'll drop that. But first, I want to bring our special guest, Life Coach Keisha is with me tonight. Life Coach Keisha, hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight.
Of course. Thank you so much for doing this. First of all, if you listen to the podcast, if you've watched our podcast on the Kempire Radio YouTube channel, you've seen Keisha before when we talked about Vedic astrology with Nancy and things like that. And she was sharing her thoughts and opinions. And as I said before, I've utilized Keisha as a life coach before. She's also a personal friend. So I've gotten some free services too. Okay. She's listened and she's judged outside of her profession, of course. So, first of all, Keisha, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you taking time out on a Friday evening to be with us to talk about dating, relationships, the aftermath of heartbreak, and so much. First of all, how in the hell did you decide to become a life coach?
Well, before I get into that, I want to just compliment you on providing a safe space for people to open up and be vulnerable about these things. How I became a life coach, pretty organic. My corporate career as a legal consultant was about coaching and developing people in their careers. And I thought, it'd be nice to open this up, be a little bit more holistic, get a little bit more all-rounded view of people's lives. They want to talk about a little bit more than their career, and they want to talk about love and money and all kinds of things that goes on in everybody's lives. So it was an organic step, but a very natural step for me. So I really enjoy being here to share this experience with you and your audience.
And one of the biggest questions I see a lot of people have is like, what's the difference between therapy or meeting with a psychiatrist versus having a life coach?
I think for me, the major difference is life coaching is about empowerment, making you feel that you can do this. I can make the change. Therapy, there's a lot of great things to say about that, but some people don't necessarily want to reflect on things that happened to me when I was 5 years old. They have things to do. They want to be a little bit more focused. They want to get a little bit more clarity, and they want to feel empowered to make the change. Most of us don't make the change because we are feeling scared. There's challenges. There's a lot of other things that go into it. So empowerment is our goal as a life coach.
And based off of your experience of doing this, coming from the corporate world and now you're doing this full time, what have you discovered from doing it that has enriched like your personal life and your personal growth?
I grow every day. And when people are vulnerable and they open up to you and they share their challenges or their accomplishments, or when people trust you enough to say, hey, I would like to do this. I'd like to be this. I'd like to have this. It gives you a sense of like, okay, you can do this. You can encourage people. Let's motivate them. Let's get some clarity. Let's encourage them, empower them. So it gives you a sense of satisfaction when you see your clients grow and become the individuals that they are striving to be.
So one of the things, and again, we will be taking callers, guys, and the callers, you will have a time limit. But Valentine's Day is a week away. And I think some people do get in their feelings around Valentine's Day. And what would be some advice to those that might be in their feelings? It's a week away. They feel pressure because of it. They have their family pressure. Like you haven't met anyone yet. What advice would you give to people that might be struggling this time of year?
Love yourself first. Love yourself. Be open. It's, you don't necessarily need someone to validate your value.
No.
How do you feel about you? Can you be your Valentine's this year? Can I send myself flowers? Can I buy me my flowers? Those roses are gorgeous. Let me order some for my bedroom. Let me order some for my office. Love yourself first. I think that's also a very powerful feeling and a very powerful moment in your life.
And would you agree that that might be the most critical thing you can do before getting into any sort of relationship?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know it's cliche. You can't love anybody until you love yourself. Yes, because when you love yourself, you set a standard that, you know how you like to feel, you know how you treat yourself. So your expectations now, you know what I mean? You take care of you first.
Yep.
And then you could, apply those same expectations to other people. But love yourself first.
Yeah.
And don't feel bad about that, because that's the other thing about loving yourself first. Don't feel selfish. Don't feel that guilt of loving yourself first.
Yeah. So for the people that might be in challenging relationships during this time of the year and have expectations like, oh, he never gets me anything for Valentine's Day. He never really plans anything for Valentine's Day. There's a week before Valentine's Day. Is there anything that those individuals that are in marriages, that are in relationships, that they can do in order to fulfill the Valentine's Day that they've always wanted?
Make the plans yourself. Stop expecting someone to do it for you. If you want to go to dinner with your significant other and your significant other does not make the plans, do you want to sit home and pout, or call and make the dinner reservation for the restaurant you want to go to?
Yes. Sensi says this. I love this. Sensi says, I wasn't looking forward to Valentine's Day since it's my first being single after 12 years, 7 years of marriage. Well, I'm buying myself flowers now. I love that. I would say that 2025 is about self-care.
Self-care and empowerment. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Most definitely. I also love this. First of all, shout out to those of you that became members for our live tonight. Again, the link, and again, I know it's hard calling into this, but understand we have created a safe space both in the live chat and in the comment section. So please respect that, everyone that's listening to replay of this. But we did drop the call-in link for our members of the channel on the community tab, or post tab as YouTube is now calling it. So thank you to everyone that became a member this evening. You have first access to the link. We will drop the link. Our channel moderators will let me know when I should drop the link. Okay, moderators, you will tell me, Kemp, you can drop the link. Okay. Thank you so much for those that became a member. Joy, I loved this comment. I'm so glad that I got to see it. She says, hi, Kempire. I was able to connect with a classmate / friend that saw a comment on one of your lives. Thank you for bringing people together.
Oh.
You just never know.
Right.
But I'm so glad that I got to see that comment. So thank you so much, guys. Don't forget, you can also support our live tonight by just liking the video. That goes for the replay crew as well. Don't forget, you can hear an audio version of our live recaps like this, or live shows like this, on the Kempire podcast. So subscribe today. We have our special guest tonight. Life Coach Keisha is here to help you guys with your questions, your stories. Again, we will be placing a time limit just so that we're able to get to everyone. But I have told Keisha if she needs to hear more or has follow-up questions, we will allow space for that. Okay? So just be mindful of that. And those that are calling in, just be respectful of that. Be respectful of the timer. Be respectful of each other. And be respectful of those that are calling in, because it's not easy to call in and share your thoughts, your experiences, and be vulnerable in front of hundreds of people. Okay? All right. All right. Shout out to everyone. I see you guys. All right. We do have quite a few people that are already backstage that probably have thoughts or stories. So we're going to bring them up. I just want to remind you guys that Keisha is offering you guys an opportunity for a free 30-minute consultation plus 15% off with the code Kempire. Her information, her Instagram, and her email to book her will be available in the description. That goes for the replay crew as well. All right. Jenna's backstage, and Jenna's already saying in the comment, I will be emailing you, Keisha.
Oh, good. Looking forward to it.
All right. Okay, let's get, since Jenna left that comment and Jenna's backstage, she was the first person backstage. Oops. We're going to hold on, let me fix this. There we go. Jenna, what's going on?
Hi, Kempire. Hi, Keisha.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I had a feeling you were going to bring me up first. I'm not prepared.
It's okay.
And my 5-year-old manager's still awake, but so I'm not sure how much I could get into, but I will say that it's New Year's Eve for me. And so tomorrow is my birthday, and I'm very excited.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I know I had to call in tonight, not just to talk to y'all, but I was like, let me give Kempire a chance to wish me a happy birthday, honey.
Well, happy birthday to you. That makes you an Aquarius, right?
Yes, it's Aquarius season. I'm ready for all the Leo slander I can muster up. Come on.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Keisha, what's your sign? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm an Aries.
Okay, the Kempire loves an Aries woman. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm one of his favorites, right, Kemp?
Of course.
Sure. Of course. I do want, before you start your story, Jenna, I do want to remind people we're going to give you a trigger warning because some topics might talk about abuse, might talk about challenges that might be triggering to you. So please keep that in mind. Okay. All right, Jenna, you're muted.
I just went on mute because it's bedtime for the little one. So, but I'm happy to drop back down and then come back up if that's okay.
Do
If
that.
somebody
I
else
don't
would
want
like
you
to
to
go
rush.
first.
Yeah,
Yes.
do that and come back.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much, y'all. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jen.
I'll be listening.
Soon.
Bye-bye.
Jenna and her little manager. I met Jenna 3 times. She came to my Philly show, she came to the New York show, and she came to the DC show.
Oh, good.
Yes. All right. We have a Lee backstage who I know is a Scorpio. Lee,
Oh.
what's going on? Lee, you're
Hey,
muted.
how are you guys?
I'm good. How are
Hi,
you?
nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you. I'm very excited to chat with you guys today. So, last time I called in, this was last week, I told you guys about my Taurus experience. I do want to briefly tell you guys, don't give me that face. I want to briefly tell you guys about my Capricorn experience. This is a guy that I know since middle school. Nothing ever happened while we were in school, middle school through high school. When I was in college, that's when he reached out to me and we started dating. It was very immature. The communication wasn't there. Obviously, it wasn't consistent. However, I just could not I could not let it go. I had to keep pushing for it. And it did not end really well. I found out that he was seeing somebody else. And it was very triggering at the time because it felt like I wasn't enough. So I went to therapy for it. And through therapy, I felt like I learned self-esteem. I felt like I learned self-care and boundaries. Now my issue now is that I feel like this is going to sound a little silly, but I feel like I healed a little bit too much. And now, not only did I build up a wall, but it is like the Great Wall of China. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, it feels like anytime that I like somebody or I want to get to know a new man, it feels like there's just this part of me that I can't let them in. So obviously they take it as a sign that she's not ready, to let somebody in. Even though I really do want to, it's just very, very hard for me to trust again because I put a lot of trust in that one situation that didn't work out very well. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been going through. I've been single and in therapy for a little over 3 years now. And although I feel like that was very beneficial for me because I've been dating, talking to men at, 24/7 since I was 14. And then when I was, finally ready to let go of the toxicity, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now. It's like, okay, I let go of it, but now what do I do? Because I'm not letting people in. So it just pushes people away. And I don't want that to happen. It trickles in dating, it trickles in my friendships, family. It's a little exhausting because I want to, but it's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is your question to us?
I guess what my question is what is maybe one step that I can do to actually let somebody in without going too hard, I guess. I always call myself a retired lover girl because I want to love and I want to be affectionate and I want to open up to people, but it's just so hard. So what's a step that I can do to, I guess, trust again or let somebody in again, even one little thing I can do in day-to-day relationships?
Yeah. Okay. I'll let Keisha answer tonight.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I feel like that is very common. I want to ask you one question, and I don't know if you can answer it now, but I think one big step for you to start with is asking yourself candidly in the mirror, what am I afraid of? What am I really afraid of? Why? Because you said it's not only in romantic relationships. You
Mhm.
said it's trickling this fear of something. It's trickling into other relationships and other aspects of your life. So is it just for an example, is it rejection? Is it expectations? Like, what am I really afraid of? Like, what am I afraid of with this? What am I afraid of going on in this date? What am I really afraid of here? How do you feel about
Yeah,
asking?
I would definitely say that I'm afraid of rejection and I'm afraid of wasting my time also because I felt like I did that in my early 20s, like I just wasted my time.
Okay. And when you say wasting your time, what are you trying, what's this time limit? Like, what are you trying to accomplish or get done? Is there a certain thing you're trying to get done in a certain amount of time? What do you mean by wasting time? Are you looking to get married, not married? What's the wasting time part about?
Yeah, honestly, my biggest goal in life is to be a mother, and I'm 30 now. So I know the older we get, the more, the less time we have to become a mother. So, and then you have to meet a partner, and then you have to get, well, you don't have to do any of those things, but I would like to do these things. I would like to find a partner. I would like to get married. I would like to become a mother. So I guess what my biggest fear is not becoming a mother, which is my ultimate goal.
Understand.
Yeah.
I would say very quickly, I would say, really, you said rejection is top of the list for you. I would
Yes.
probably start by listing 3 to 5 things every day that you love and appreciate about yourself.
Mhm.
That would be a nice place to start because I know you're working on the self-esteem, but rejection is also part of that.
Mhm.
So if you can really list and say, these are 5 solid things I love about myself, this is what I'm bringing to the table, this is what I have to offer. I think
Mhm.
that would be a nice way to start working on feeling confident and building your confidence. So when you go out on a date, you're like, I am this, I am that, and I am okay with that.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? So when you're
I
having
do.
dinner, you could recognize very easily if this person appreciates this or doesn't appreciate that because you talked about not wasting your time. So you could start
Right.
eliminating things that doesn't work for you or dates that don't work for you. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, that sounds like sound advice because I usually just go into like a talking stage or maybe even like dates with they already know what I bring to the table.
Right.
And so that's like, I feel like it's a part of the wall that I've built up. It's like, I don't have to express these things. They should already know it. Like, it's like,
Mm.
it's like I guess like maybe like even a coping mechanism too, like just because of the rejection from my ex, just like, not being vulnerable in that moment. So honestly, that feels right that I can do something like that. And then, hopefully they recognize that.
And I want you to know too, honestly, and I'll let you go, that rejection usually is their issue, not your issue.
Mhm.
We typically take that personally. Oh, this person didn't like me. They didn't call me back. They didn't buy me flowers. And we
Mm.
internalize that as like rejection. But
Yeah.
some people just are not thoughtful. And you feel bad about yourself, and they don't, they're just not thoughtful or considerate. And that's
Right.
probably not someone you want in your life, but you can
Mhm.
also work on that. Just don't internalize their immaturity to define your value.
Thank you so much. I actually needed to hear that a lot.
You're welcome.
So thank
You're
you
welcome.
guys so much. Talk to
Thank
you
you.
soon.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.
Thanks for calling in. And shout out to those of you that have called in before and have been so vulnerable with your stories. Again, last Friday we had a 5-hour live. And to be honest with you, Keisha, and I warned you, and I said we're not going to do that tonight because
Right.
we're not
Right.
going to do that.
Right.
But hearing people's stories, I feel like I learned from, and I think not only do I learn from their stories, but I feel as if when we hear other people's stories, we realize that we are more similar than we are different
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
our experiences. For those that are just joining us, this is I know we started early, so some of you are like, Kempire, what is going on? You're used to me starting like 5-10 minutes late. It's okay. But for those that are just coming on in, I have my special guest here. Life coach Keisha is here, and she's also giving you a discount. Don't forget, you can get a free 30-minute consultation with her and her services, plus 15% off with the code Kempire. More information on Keisha and her Instagram. Be sure to follow her on Instagram as well. will be available in the description, and an audio version of this live will be available on the Kempire podcast. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to give us a 5-star rating. Keisha, based off your experience of life coaching, because I know you've done a variety of different topics, like what has been your experience when people come into life coaching with whatever issue it might be? What has been your assessment of when people come in there? Do they usually know what their issue is, or do they discover it?
I think some people come in very clear and they're like, okay, this is what my issue is. But I think it evolves and it changes. And the thing is, I hate to say challenge. Let's say challenges. You know, how you do one thing is kind of how you do everything. So if you have a money issue or if you have a relationship or career issues, it kind of roots back to the same thing. You know, off the heels of our last caller, it's like if you have a self-esteem challenge, that can trickle into relationships, but that can also trickle into careers, and you're not getting the raise that you deserve, and you don't feel confident going to speak to your boss and say, hey, I've been doing a great job. That self-esteem really does trickle into other aspects of your life. So as you coach through people, you kind of get to a core challenge that you can say, well, here's how it's showing up in your career, here's how it's showing up in your money, here's how it's showing up in your relationships. So it is evolving, and that's why I said I transitioned from the career coaching to a little bit more holistic, because we're starting to notice again that it trickles everywhere. You could find pieces of these challenges in other places of your life.
Yeah. And one of the things I've always said, especially working in the corporate world, when I would see how certain people would manage people or treat other people in the work environment, I would always think to myself, I was like, they must not be happy at home.
Absolutely. It's absolutely. You know who's frustrated. You know what I mean? You know who's frustrated based on how you feel in a day too. Like if you get up and you're running late and you're aggravated, don't you feel like you run into all the other aggravated people that day too?
Yeah.
Or the days you wake up and you feel like, oh, I'm stunning today. Don't you feel like you walk into everybody who loves themselves that day? You know what I mean? So, people that you meet, strangers you meet out, as you're out and about, it's kind of a reflection of how you're feeling in that moment, in that day as well. So
I wonder what I need to do with my energy to start avoiding Virgos. Amara said in the live chat, she says, no Cancer slander tonight. We took it all last Friday. So is there a sign that you just don't rock with, and why is it Cancer?
Are you asking me that question?
Yes. Is there a sign that you're just like, oh my gosh?
I mean, I don't really know, because I think my world, it's so crazy. As an Aries, I feel like 99%, except you, of the people I know is a fellow fire sign. Like, I don't know a Virgo. It's not in my circle on an everyday, I might know them, but you know how an Aries is. We're not really asking who else is, kind of thing.
Oh, they. Here's the thing. I know some people get in their feelings in regards to when we talk about astrological signs. I always talk about Virgos. I always talk about Cancers. However, I feel as if certain people are very sensitive, but they still stick around. They still come to the channel.
Well, that's a Cancer, right? A Cancer is what? Soft inside, hard outside. So, sensitive. Yeah.
But it's okay. This is a safe space for all astrological signs.
Right. We accept all.
I guess. I guess Virgos. I guess Cancer. I'm playing, guys. If you're just joining us, this is our special dating live. I have posted the call-in link for members in the community tab, and I'm dropping the call-in link for the live chat for those that want to call in, share their stories. And if you have a question, we listen and we don't judge. We still have Jenna backstage. Let's see if Jenna is ready for us. Jenna, are you ready for us?
I was going to put in chat that child is asleep. Well, she's off to bed and I'm off duty.
Oh. What's going on, Jenna?
So I just want to say off the top, I put it in the chat, but and I know we always joke about slander and different signs, but my bestie is a Virgo, the one that took me to Hawaii, and she is one of the best people in my life. I love her so much.
She took you to Hawaii? I need to get me a Virgo like that.
did. Yeah, she's my ace deuce Trey. We've been friends for a long time. But I think my main question is, or main thing I want to ask or start to suss out for myself as I'm going into year 40 something for my birthday tomorrow. And then also just figuring out like for Valentine's Day and just stuff in the future. And once I get to my next stage, which I won't be too noisy about because the papers aren't finalized yet, but like how do I basically build like a lot of not just self-love in myself and just really focus on that because at least at this stage, I don't want to be with anyone. And I'm just like in the era of I want to love myself, I want to love my daughter, but I still want to be developing myself and growing in the person that I want to be so that like I don't turn into like a mess when I'm an empty nester because I spend all my time focusing on her. So that's really my goal to like figure out like what are the things I need to be doing to love myself more and cultivating like the person that I want to be so that when she leaves to go to college, I can be out here on my Angela Bassett, hot girl summer, second era, rich auntie-ness.
Oh,
Well, how do you define self-love? Well, let me ask you that question. How do you define self-love? What do you do to show yourself that you love and appreciate yourself?
I think, well, I was talking to actually another friend last night who we were talking about how like we are very good at negative self-talk and we're very good at bigging up other people and
Right.
even bigging ourselves up in some ways, but maybe not really believing the things we say about ourselves.
So
And
start
it's like, yeah.
I was gonna say start small. Like,
Hmm.
so I have to say that because that's a lot of people. And you're a parent. So you're also really good about encouraging and uplifting your children. So how do you do that for yourself? So you
So
recognize you don't do it. How do you
mhm,
do it to yourself? Do you ever look in the mirror and say, you look great today?
mm.
What's your
I'm
favorite
st-
color?
I'm gonna start to do that. Are you actually literally asking me my favorite color or saying do I ask myself my favorite color?
Yeah, like, what's the favorite color? What do I like to see myself in? What color makes me feel empowered? What color makes me feel
Okay.
comfortable? What color makes me feel sexy? Start to talk to yourself, like, explore those things about yourself and
Okay.
those feelings about yourself. How does that feel to you?
I think that makes sense. And I had actually said I was going to start to do more like that because, of course, I do affirmations with my child. We all have locks in our family. So I always talk about how beautiful our locks are, how beautiful our brown skin is, teaching her about Black Girl Magic, all these different things. But I think that's something that I need to do for myself more. And I'd seen Jennifer Lewis do that like little thing she does recently where she says she looks in the mirror every morning and she's like, "You pretty heifer," or something like that. And it's like, so saying something like, try to channel my inner Jennifer Lewis. She's my spirit animal in my mind. So like, I want to do more of that with myself where I just sit with my affirmations in the mirror before, I do it with a 5-year-old.
Mm.
I would always say my number one homework is making a little list, 3 to 5 things I love about myself, and make sure you feel comfortable with it. Don't stretch it. Don't say things you're like, I don't really, you know what I mean? And it's like, I like this about myself. And then you'll work up to, I love this about myself. This is one of
Mhm.
my favorite things about myself. That list of the things that I like about myself really goes a long way.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a list. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with a list. Sounds
Yes.
good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Jenna. And you did that in under 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm trying to take up all the space. I want to hear what other people have to say.
Most definitely. And other people, we've posted the call in link on the community tab for those that want to call in. And again, I get it. It's not easy to call in and be as transparent, but we appreciate it. Jenna, thank you so much for calling in
Thank you both. I'll be listening. Bye.
and keep us up to date.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. All right. All right. So, in regards to, as we collect folks, because we did start like
A little
40 minutes
early.
ago. It's okay. It's all
Yeah.
right. But we are here and we're going to continue to take some of your questions. If you do not want to call in and you have a question for Keisha in the live chat, be sure to start the question with a Q and a colon and then write your question and we will highlight that and get some answers for you. All right. My question in regards to some of what you've been hearing, what's been the biggest challenge? Because again, yes, you're a life coach, but you're also not God.
Right.
So have you had a challenge in maybe one of your clients in regards to how to handle a specific situation and how were you able to learn and grow from that challenge?
I think I think every client has a challenge, honestly.
Mm,
We're people, we're human, and we have human days, we have human moments.
yeah.
I remind myself and I remind my clients as well, this is not about fixing. This is not, nobody's broken, nobody needs to be fixed. Sometimes you just need to be understood. You know what I mean? You need to be able to honor and celebrate your imperfections. Don't judge them.
Yeah.
We're always open to other people's imperfections, but when it comes to ours, we get a little bit more harsh, and our self-talk could be a little bit more ugly, and certain topics are a little bit more sensitive. Like, let's just say if self-esteem is an issue, if you talk to somebody who comes to you who's talking about relationships and self-esteem, but if you give them an idea of, like, in career, they might get a little bit, like, defensive. Well, I'm very successful in my career, but it's just an example of, but I think honoring and celebrating your imperfections is also a very empowering, powerful step, because you really need to understand who you are and accept those things. And there's nothing wrong with you if, there's a little imperfection. There's absolutely nothing. That's what makes you you. That makes you organic. That makes you real. And I think celebrating that is also a really good first step for a lot of people.
How do people get over, because you have to remember, people are dealing with years and years of self-talk that wasn't so helpful, that has been a big deterrent in their lives. What would you say to those people? How can they get started today in regards to breaking those trauma bonds that they have with their parents or the way that they grew up? Like, what can we do today to start making a change in that regard?
I would say being real would be the first thing. If you, to your example, if you have issues with family, I think being real about that and recognizing that mom, dad, or whatever your family structure or dynamic was, they are people first. They are humans. And, a lot of us, because we give them the title of mom or dad or husband or child, we give them that title with expectations. And sometimes those expectations aren't real. And our expectations are very specific and very individual. So what I expect from you, because you're my dad, and his definition of what a father is or a dad is very different, because they're people first. So I think being real is very important. And remember, if you accept your imperfections, you're also going to not judge somebody else's imperfections. And that will also limit your expectations of their behavior. It goes back to your original, it's like, oh, Valentine's Day is coming, and my significant other never buys me flowers. We'll buy you the flowers. Or he or she never makes a dinner reservation. But see, people won't make those because they expect the significant other to do it. And now you're home. And angry. You know what I mean? Now you're home and
Mad.
and mad. You know
and
what
you probably haven't shared that you're upset about that.
So now you're walking around in your robe, mad, upset, and hungry, when you could have just made the reservation. You know what I mean?
And Genesis with their money.
Right. So that's the compromise, so.
Most definitely. And one of the other important things that I learned as a kid, and this comes from me watching Oprah at a very young age. Okay.
Right.
And it's how important that the relationships that you saw growing up, meaning like your parents, really affect how you deal with relationships as an adult now. And how do you maybe you grew up with seeing your parents in a very toxic relationship. How do you learn and grow and make changes from repeating that same cycle?
Recognize that you're not them. Recognize that you're not them. Not because you grew up in that environment, not to say you don't have the baggage and you saw things, but not because mom was this, I am that. You don't have to label yourself based on somebody's actions. You shouldn't put a value on you because of somebody else's actions. So that's really important to be like, let mom, dad, whoever the family structure is, let them be them. You be you. That's why it's so important to be real, focus on being real and not perfect.
All right. All right. Guys, if you're just joining us, I'm here with my friend and life coach, Keisha. Again, more information on Keisha and her services of being a life coach will be available in the description. She's giving you a special discount of 15% off her services with the discount code Kempire, along with a free 30-minute consultation. More information on that will be available in the description, as I mentioned before. For those that are just joining us, just a reminder, trigger warning, some people might be talking about instances of abuse or just challenges in their lives that might be similar to yours, and it might be triggering to you. So I do want to emphasize a trigger warning in regards to that. And we're reminding everyone in the live chat, in the replay crew in the comment section, and even our callers to be respectful of other people's stories and leave a safe space for those individuals to share their stories. Okay. All right. So we have a few people backstage. So I'm going to bring up Arjun next. Arjun, what's going on? How are you?
I'm good. What about you, Kempire?
I'm fantastic. What did you want to share with us today?
Okay, so I'm gonna explain. It's a long thing. I'm gonna keep it quite short. So as you know, I can't.
Wait, Arjun, before you start, I am going to set a 5-minute timer, but don't
Yeah,
feel
yeah. I think
pressure.
it's under 5 minutes. Yeah. So as you know, I come from an Indian family. I've said that before. So my challenge is I've never seen a love marriage in my life. Like it's all of my parents' family, my relatives and the people I've been around with, like my friends, even their parents were arranged marriage.
Hmm.
And in my family, the only person I actually know in my life who actually did a love marriage was my sister.
Hmm.
And apart from that, I've never seen a love marriage.
Hmm.
And this is the reason I watch a lot of reality TV because I've never seen what a love marriage looks like.
Hmm.
And I didn't know this why I'm so single until a few months ago. My mom told me, she said, you know what? I just realized you don't date because you've never seen a love marriage in your life.
She said that to you.
Yeah.
Did you know that at the time, or was that the aha moment?
I always told like, oh, you know what? I don't know. Why I'm not dating and everything. But my mom was the one that made me realize, oh, the reason I don't see or I don't, go for like, oh, I want to be dating and all that is because I've never seen it. And she said, you've never seen people in love.
Hmm.
She told me that.
I find that to be so interesting that your mother shared that.
Yeah, because she said, why are you so single? I was like, I don't know. She said, you know why? It's because you've never seen people in love.
Hmm.
So she articulated what you were already thinking and feeling.
I always thought, because for me, I've never seen people in love. Because I've been surrounded by Indian people even abroad, like all my friends, even their parents are arranged marriage. So I've
Hmm.
never seen what it looks like a couple which is in love, apart from my sister, right? But then I've never seen it what it looks like.
How did
So
that happen with your sister, though?
I mean, she was at uni, she found a man, and then she got married to him, and
Oh,
that.
and
and
if you didn't find that man in university, would she have had an arranged marriage?
listen, so this is my oldest sister. She's 12 years older than me,
Oh, wow.
and then I have my other sister, right? She's 10 years older than me. She actually did an arranged marriage.
Okay.
The middle one did the arranged marriage, the older one did, and then she got married right after uni. I think for my older sister, because she also has seen arranged marriages,
Hmm.
for her it was such a new thing. Oh, you know what? She fell in love, and then for her she experienced that. And then my other sister, she was in relationship before, but it didn't work out. So
Hmm.
she gave up. She gave up, and she just said, I'm just going to do arrange."
Okay.
And then with me, this is the thing in my mind, right? I was like, oh, love marriage, and then every time I get this idea, oh, love will fade away. So like
Hmm.
now I'm just saying, oh, if I do a love marriage, the love will fade away. But if I do arranged marriage, I'm marrying for the family, to have family.
Hmm.
See, this is the kind of thing I struggle with in my life.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So what is your question for us?
So is that what I'm thinking? Is it the right thing or no? The idea that I get from the experiences in my life, is this the right idea that I have in my mind? Or am I not in the right direction?
well, I don't think we could tell you if you're wrong or right, but it sounds like you have used this as an excuse as to why you don't have a relationship. Meaning that, oh, I've never seen a love marriage, so that's why I don't have one. And then the other side of that is like, well, maybe I should just do it this way because the love might fade. So my, suggestion would probably kind of figure out, what you want. It sounds like you're afraid either direction you go in, and it sounds like you're kind of open to either direction. So why don't you explore both directions and then make a final decision? But I will invite you to not pigeonhole yourself to, I've never seen it, that's why I don't have it.
I think that's you know what I know where you're going because this is what my parents are saying. They say you have to explore, and I'm not doing it.
Right.
Mhm.
There's a little apprehension there. You're a little apprehensive on which direction you should go in because you want to know which way is right or wrong, but there's absolutely no right or wrong. There's no perfect. Like I said before, this is about a year about being real and not perfect.
Mm.
So you're not going to make the wrong decision no matter which way that you go. You have to get out there and try and then make a decision. You don't
Yeah.
know your favorite flavor of ice cream unless you try a bunch of different flavors.
That's true. I can. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I would ask this question, Arjun. What are you doing currently to even stop that? What are you doing currently to put yourself out there? Are you even putting yourself out there?
No. 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 That's the thing. I've been thinking about it for so many months, and even when I realized it when my mom said it. She said, "You never seen it," and I get really awkward around couples,
Hmm.
and I do get really awkward around couples.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you
I
know
don't like
why?
them. I don't know. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea.
Okay, that could be homework. That could be homework for you. Just kind of have a reflective moment and say, why do I get uncomfortable when I see this? And why am I afraid of either direction? Why do I think I'm going to fail in either direction? Because it's stopping you from making a move, and you want to make a move in a direction. So make a first step. But before you make that step, just ask yourself, what am I really afraid of here? What's scaring me?
Yeah. And I think one of the first steps that you've made already, Arjun, is realizing, oh, maybe the reason why I'm not in a relationship or haven't pursued a relationship is because I've never seen a healthy love relationship. So that's the first,
Yeah.
at least you have that realization. Now it's to take the next step.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hope you will keep us posted. Did you have any follow-up questions for
No. 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 I just had this to share. Like this is, and I'm not the only one that has thought about this. Like other friends of mine have also spoken about this. So this is like something that we have always spoken in our friendship group.
Yeah.
And some of them have clocked it. Like they clocked me and they said, "You never speak about dating life." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's because I struggle with this."
Oh,
So this
stop owning the struggle. Just say I'm exploring.
you know what I'm gonna say the next time they say
That's
that
right.
to me.
There's no struggle. I'm exploring.
That's a good. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Thank you very much.
You're
And I want to
welcome.
salute you, Arjun, for being so brave and sharing your story, because I think a lot of people within your community or cultures that also do arranged marriages are going to hear this call and might have that realization and not realize it that's what they've been experiencing.
I mean, I'm really happy that my mom noticed it because I didn't notice it until my mom told me that.
Yeah.
It hit me really so much when my mom noticed it, and I'm like, "Oh, mom, you're onto something." Yeah.
Well, we hope that you will keep us up to date on your dating journey.
Oh yeah, sure.
Thanks, Arjun. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. All right. We have quite a few people that are waiting backstage as well, but we also had a couple of questions in the comment section. Guys, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you never miss out when we do breaking news, when we do our live recaps, or when we do this new special live that we've been doing on dating, astrology, heartbreak, all of that. We have our special guest here tonight, life coach Keisha. More information on Keisha and her services will be available in the description, including a 50% off code. That is Kempire is the code. All of that will be available again in the description. Let me see. So again, if you have a question for myself or Keisha, please just post a Q, a colon and the question, and we'll be able to, if I miss it, just repost it. Okay. Kalani asked this question. So Kalani says, how do I start again after being single for so long? My daughter is 4 years old and she's autistic nonverbal. I'm afraid to have anyone around her because she can't tell me if someone, I'm not sure what you were going to say there, but I'm going to read it that if someone did send something to her or harmed her
Right.
or mistreated her, I think that's what you were going to say, mistreated. How would you answer that question, Keish?
I would say with any young children, I would always say vet your partners first. Be really sure about your investment. You don't have to introduce your children, your family to someone you're going out on a date with. I think when you think this is serious and this is someone worth bringing into your family, then you can explore how you're going to do that and the way that works for you and your family.
Yeah. Look, I mean, that's the aspect of dating. I'm glad I personally don't have
Right.
to think about those things,
It's
but yeah,
tricky. It's
it's
definitely
real. There are a
tricky.
lot of people that have to think about their children in regards to dating. So that's just another layer of the dating world
Right.
that
Children aren't dating though, and I think a lot of parents that are in that transition is all they ask that question a lot of times. I think you should be transparent that you have a family, you have children and set your boundaries. And one of your boundaries is like unless I know where this is going and you're clear that this is someone that you're going to keep in your life, there's no reason to get your children involved in that.
no, I do think that Kalani, that you should look to see their patience level. And when you do introduce the topic of that you have a child with autism, that you kind of help educate them and see if they do their own education in regards to it.
Right.
Because that for me personally would be like, oh, this person is a keeper because they're taking the extra steps to learn what that means.
Right. Or the
Uh,
person has potential.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So pay attention to those details because if he has short patience with you or she, no judgments,
Right.
has short
Yeah.
patience with you, that will be an indication of how they would treat you, a dog, a kid, whatever it may be. So pay attention to those things. And I know at this particular point, Dr. Maya Angelou's quote, when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. But I'm always reminded about that because so many people ignore, rationalize things that were key triggers or key things that people have shown them. They ignore it and they rationalize it. But for you, because you do have a child with autism, you have to be very aware of something like that.
Right.
So pay attention to those details.
Yeah. Vet them well.
Yes, yes. All right, we have a couple more questions. Amara, who is a Cancer? Amara says a question: how do you not internalize being rejected when you're ghosted for no reason? We literally had someone call in about being ghosted before. What would be your response to that, life coach Keisha?
I mean, that's very tricky. But I always say rejection is never about you. It's so hard when you're going through it because you're trying to understand, but you're trying to understand somebody else's behavior or patterns, their baggage. And you don't know that. And you take on that and you let their behavior determine your value. And one has nothing to do with the next. And I know that sounds so easy for me to say, but if someone is immature enough to ghost you, why are you feeling bad about yourself? That is not a reflection on you. That is a reflection on them and their behavior and their maturity.
Yeah.
So you say thank you to the universe and say, I'm glad. Thank you. You've shown me your colors already.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot. And I literally had these conversations. I think it was during, I can't remember everything from the 5-hour chat from last week. But I think a lot of people internalize other people's behavior.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not fair because you are placing a value on you because of them and they just want to raise right. It has
Danny,
nothing to do with you.
I love what Danny says here. You will never get the closure that you want
Right.
from other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And even when you do, because I remember in relationships where you do have that closure conversation and people still feel like,
Yeah, because
I
they
need to
didn't
call them back up.
right. Because you need to say something because you're like, no, that didn't make any sense. And it's like it's ongoing. And it's like, really? Do you really need the closure? Do you really need the closure? Because now they're feeding you the same lines that you broke up with them, or you know what I mean? So do you really need it? No.
Yeah.
Let them go.
Guys, be sure to keep letting us know your questions in the comments section or in the live chat for tonight's live. We have our special guest, Life Coach Keisha, but we have quite a few people that are backstage that want to share something, maybe ask a question. Either one is fine. But I did want to get quickly to some of these questions that you guys posted in the live chat. Anan says, I attach to emotionally unavailable men because they remind me of my dad. I usually end up begging for attention, and the relationship ends with my feeling alone or broken. How can I break the cycle?
I would say
Hmm.
stop labeling yourself.
Hmm.
Stop labeling yourself. I have this issue because of that. And that may be true where you're owning something and you want to transform this behavior.
Yeah.
So stop owning it. I'm this way because of that. You choose who you want to be starting from this very moment. If you don't want to be, if you don't want to be with somebody who's emotionally unavailable, say I'm done with that. I am done being with people that are unavailable to me. What does an available person look like to me? What is that relationship? Stop focusing on things that don't work and focus on the things that really mean something to you, that bring value to you. This is the kind of relationship that I like. This is the kind of person that I like. This is how I feel with these types of people, person, places, things.
But I can't, Keisha, but I can't. For those people that feel as if I just don't know where to start. I don't know how to do that. Is that when you, let's say, reach out to you and say, I need a life coach to kind of help me walk through?
I mean, yes, sometimes that's who's coming to you because they don't know where to start. But I will say this maybe a million times through, our call tonight and what have you, our live tonight. I will say it is so important to have that list of things that you love, you cherish, you admire, you respect about yourself. Let's start there. You have to, and when you start that list, you have to really feel that. You have to connect that. This is the type of person I am. I am sensitive. I am loving. I am, you know that I don't have any patience. Sometimes I don't like to stand in a long line. Okay. Am I mad at myself for that? Let's be real with ourselves. And
I'm not mad at you.
do you know what I mean? Let's be real. Let's honor those things about ourselves. Let's just be honest and write a list of things that I like. And let me tell you, it sounds like 5 things. I know a lot of people will sit there and they cannot list 5 things they love about themselves or they cherish about themselves, or there's a lot of people that can't do that. But it's a really important place to start.
Live chat, I would love to hear 5 things that you love about yourself, because I believe when you write it down, it becomes even more powerful. So let us know in the live chat and the replay crew. Let us know 5 things that you love about yourself. Okay. Okay, I do want to mention this. Miranda, who I met in London during our London show, you're a Taurus as well, right, Miranda? Miranda, because this sounds so like me. Miranda says, I don't believe in closure. Block and delete and pretend they're dead.
If it works, Miranda, I'm with you. I'm with
I
you.
read that. I said, I think Miranda is a Taurus. I vaguely remember her being a Taurus. I was like, that sounds like something I would do.
Because
Do I
I
really
agree.
pretend that they're dead if I see them?
I agree because you're still going back to validation. That's what closure is. You're looking for validation. It's like, I know my value because I am this. That's why that list is important. If you really write that list and it really means something to you, you don't need that closure because you don't need that validation. You don't want them to say, oh, you were the best such and such I ever had. What do you care? You already know that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Lee had another question. Lee, who called in earlier.
Yes.
Again, guys, if you have a question for us, start it off with a Q. I'm going to try and catch all of them. If I don't catch it, please feel free to either call in as well. If you're a member of the channel, we posted the call link on the post tab, but also in the live chat, we've pinned the call in link for those that want to call in and share their experience, their thought, or if you have a question for myself or Coach Keisha, Life Coach Keisha. Lise asked the question, do you have advice for someone who wants to leave a bad relationship, but they are scared to be alone?
Before you make any moves, you have to ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What am I scared of? Am I scared about being alone, or am I really scared about paying the rent or the mortgage myself? You have to be, again, that goes back to being real with yourself. So sometimes we're not necessarily attached to the person, we're attached to the circumstances with the people. So just, again, have another real moment with yourself and just kind of really figure out what you're afraid of, what scares you.
Okay, hold on. I say so because we also we don't just talk about dating during these lives. We talk about astrological signs. So we have some Tauruses in the chat. Elizabeth, I don't know if she's a Taurus. She says Tauruses have no chill. She said she's a Taurus too. We will block you without you realizing you are blocked. I know I have quite a few people still probably fighting me in the comments section or fighting me in my lives. And please understand, this is a blessing that I have so many people that watch the channel that comment. I can't possibly sit and read every single comment. I try to read some, but yeah, you pretty much dead to me, especially if you're saying something negative, okay? Or on Twitter where you can mute a conversation. I always tell people, like, as soon as I see a conversation building on anything on Twitter, I mute it. So you're fighting in a room by yourself, swinging.
Right.
Swinging. Thank you, Elizabeth. Danny says Team Taurus is all about blocking, deleting, and putting them in the grave. Not really, literally, y'all. Calm down. Okay. So, okay, thank you, Lee, for the question. Okay, we have a few people backstage that want to share their thoughts, experiences, or something. I'm going to bring up D. Nicole up next. Again, guys, we are holding space for everyone that is sharing their story. This includes those of you watching the replay of this in the comment section. As always, remember, we listen and we don't judge. And of course, happy Black History Month. Okay. All right. D. Nicole is backstage. We're going to bring D. Nicole up next. D. Nicole, what did you want to share tonight?
Hi, Kempire. First, I love you, by the way. I'm 24. I will be 25 this year, and I'm a Cancer. Don't judge me.
I like your sweater, though.
Okay, good. Okay. So, my last relationship ended last year in April, and I feel like all Cancers can relate to this. When we love hard, and I'm not I'm not the type of girl to be like, oh, I'm finna go to the club, I'm finna talk to this person, that person. Too many people get on my nerves. I can't do it. So I would really prefer having that one person. That is my person that I can go to about God, whatever we relate with. Like, I want that person. And I felt like my last relationship was that. And a lot of things he would do, he was an Aries. That's probably where I messed up. But besides the point, uh, I really thought he was it. And when I know I love someone, I put them in my prayers. When I said I was praying over that man, excuse me, little boy, because he wasn't a man, but when I was praying over him, like he went into basic training for the army, and he was gone for like 5 months. And when I say every day, I'm like, okay, Lord, protect him, cover him if his mental isn't right, keep him up, like that kind of thing. And me doing that, it wasn't necessarily looking for him to be like, oh, I see it, but just, because I truly cared for the person, for him, and loved his mom, his aunt, like his whole family. I met his whole family, spent Christmas with them last year. I've never spent a Christmas out my family. So that was like a first for me. And even during Christmas with him, he was pissing me off. I can admit I was probably pissing him off too, but I was calling him out on his mess. So he would get examples, like he would get upset at me putting on makeup. And it's an insecurity for me. Like at the time I had a lot of hyperpigmentation, and my eyebrows is sparse when I don't have to do my eyebrows. So, I didn't want to make myself feel good, and it's not necessarily for him because I really didn't give a crap, but I wanted to look pretty for myself. We were going somewhere, and this, that, or third, and it didn't hurt hearing my man say, "Oh, you look cute," whatever, da da. But every time, why you gotta do all that, da da da? And at the time, I saw it as a red flag, but I was still checking, be like, look, I'm not doing this for you or anybody else. I'm doing it for myself. And another example, I realized it today as I was cleaning up my room and stuff. I went to Morgan State University, and my mom got me a playing card deck set with like Morgan's logo on it. And at one point I showed it to him, and he was like, boo, Morgan. Like every time I would have something on regarding Morgan, he would say something about it. And I was like, and I asked my cousin earlier, I was like, is that a red flag? Because he didn't go to college.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he went to like the competing college.
No, he didn't go to college. So I'm like, is that a red flag, or am I bugging kind of? But like, my cousin was like, yeah, I mean, it feels like a red flag, especially if he didn't go to college and he wanted to.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I guess. Hey, HBU fam. But noticed that earlier. And then he, he was in the army, or he is in the army. Our relationship ended because he cheated. And he told me, through text. And prior to that, I felt a shift. And like earlier, I'm a true believer in God. And like earlier, I was like maybe 2 weeks before we ended, I felt something was up. And I feel like I know when he did it, but he wouldn't tell me when, which is a punk move, but okay. And he was like, well, at least I told you. Goofy, you shouldn't have done it in the first place, football head. Like, don't piss me off. Like, I was so angry. And when I say I called him everything but a child of God,
Mm.
when I finally went off and like I got past like that whole day, I went through a range of emotions. Like, first I was sad about it and I was like, okay, I can forgive him. No, Darian, no, absolutely not. I'm cussing him out. Cussed him out, threw his stuff away. I didn't throw away like his army paraphernalia. I sent that to his his mom, and just because I know his mom would have wanted it, and she didn't do nothing to me. It's not her fault. Her son's a dickhead. But going through all that, I was just like, it kind of makes me feel like, why am I always getting done dirty? Like, this is my first time getting cheated on, and it's just like, and again, why would you feel like, oh, you did me a service telling me you cheated when you could have just kept your pee-wee in your pants, sir?
Mm.
Because whole time when you was in basic training, it's not like men weren't coming towards me. I look good. So even then, he might have been, the men approaching me might have been fine, but I was only worried about you. That's all that was in my head. Every Sunday, I was waiting on that phone call. So for him to play with my emotions, that's what also pisses me off.
Yeah.
Don't play with my emotions, because we had broken up a few times before like the final breakup in April. And the first couple times we broke up, he was like, I just don't want to, do long distance. I don't want to end up hurting you, this, that, and the third. And of course, that's not what I wanted, but I accepted it. And then he came back
Yeah.
talking about, no, I don't want to lose you, this, that, and the third. You wanted your cake and you wanted to eat it too.
Mm.
Shove it up your butt. Like,
So, D. Nicole, what is your question for us tonight?
well, right now, I'm like, I know I'm not ready to date, but when I am ready to date, like, what is important? Because I still, in my head, like, I'm just like, you lying, he lying, that the next one behind you's lying. Like, I don't know how I could possibly go into a new relationship or just the dating scene period and feel confident enough, like, okay, this person isn't gonna hurt me. Like, I know I have to have a guard up, but like, any tips on like how to navigate that? Because I still hurt and I'm still angry, obviously.
Mm. Mm. How long ago was this?
We broke up in April of last year.
Okay. Okay. I'll leave this up to Keisha, the
Well,
expert.
Nicole, thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and I understand. My first suggestion would be you need to trust yourself, because throughout what you're saying to us here is like, you knew the red flags, you saw the red flags, they were waving in front of you. You second guessed your own instincts with it. So when he turned out to be a certain way, I don't think you were necessarily surprised. You might have been disappointed. So my advice going forward is trust your instincts, because your instincts were guiding you and telling you all along, but you gave him and the relationship chances that it may not had deserved at the time. So for you going forward, it's like, know that I know what I'm doing, trust my instincts, and my instincts always guide me. So that would be my advice to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Also, I have to say one more thing about him. I should have known better when he was sleeping in his brother's car instead of having a home. He had a home to go to, but instead he wanted to sleep in his brother's car, not his car, his brother's car, so he could smoke.
So you saw all of these signs. So don't judge yourself. Don't judge him. Trust your instincts for the next time.
Yes, I will. Thank you guys. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you so much.
Take
Have a good
care.
night. Thanks for sharing.
You too. Bye.
Whew, I was judging. I feel like we can judge the jerks.
I mean,
I'm not judging D Nicole. I'm judging the jerks. Okay.
amazing.
But again, for those that are just joining us, this is our third special dating and astrology live. We sprinkle a little astrology in there, but we're talking mostly about dating. We have posted the call-in link for members on the post tab here on YouTube, but we're also live on the Kempire and Kempire Daily on Facebook. We're live on Twitch and Twitter. I won't always make it available on those platforms, so be sure to subscribe to the Kempire YouTube channel if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Kempire podcast. That's available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. All right. Again, guys, if you have questions in the live chat, be sure to start it off with a Q, and I'll try and save them and go back to them. But we do have a few people that are backstage. Live chat, I have pinned the call-in link to the live chat for those that want to call in as well. And I get it. It's not easy calling in and sharing your experience, but we appreciate those that are vulnerable and brave enough to share their stories, because you will be surprised how many people can be healed and helped by you being so transparent.
Absolutely.
Okay? All right. Any thoughts, Keisha, before we move on?
I love it. I love the transparency. I love that everybody's sharing, because these are real things. Life is real, guys. Life is lifing with or without us. So, there's no right and wrong. There's no perfect, situation, scenario. We make the best of it.
Yeah. Anand says, try not beating yourself up. It's a learning experience. I think we do that a lot. Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone does it, no matter how, enlightened or evolved that you are.
Right.
We all have those moments, and we need to understand that. And I think doing lives like this remind people that no matter at what level, career or success or education, we all go through these things.
And we're human first.
Exactly. A heads up. I just want to let Scarlett know before we bring you up that it says device is not connected. Mel is before you, but I just want to give you a heads up that you might have to drop out in order for your stuff to work so we can bring you up. All right, Scarlett? All right. Mel's backstage. We're going to bring Mel up next. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. Mel, what's going on?
Hey, Kempire. Hi, Keisha.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, good evening. Good evening. This is good. I'm doing good. I'm liking the conversation. I'm enjoying these sort of boutique kind of shows. It's very intimate. Actually, I agree with some of the callers. I think it was a call up there that talked about marriage. In my family, my great grandparents and my grandparents were the people who were married in our family. But my parents and aunts and everybody else, they were daters. Everybody was dating and they had different relationships. It was just what was around us. So I find myself as an adult, making friends is not hard for me at all. You do it at work. You do it if you do a workshop. If you go to whatever you want to do, I end up connecting with people, and that's what's happening. And then I have my little entanglement, shall we say, with people on different apps and things. So both part of my life is fulfilled. But when it comes to romance, I should say, I've attempted that when I was younger. And it was horrific for me. It was totally horrific, maybe because I like to control a little bit more, and I don't like to be made to. I don't like that feeling of feeling like out of control, and I don't even know how to do it. I have had no models of romance. My family was more, especially my mom, who I love very much. So she was everything, and so was my aunts. They were the kind of people who was like, listen, I'm working hard. I'm taking care of my family. A man may be here one day, maybe going the next, but they're not the most. Romance is not part of our life. Is our family, our friendships, and church in some instance when we would go to church, whatever, we didn't do it all the time. So, but that was just the focus. It wasn't romance. So now as an adult, I don't know. I feel like in the past couple of years, I'm not really a romantic person that way. I'm very supportive of people, very helpful with people. I think the affirmations or the sort of suggestions I was making recently about what are your things, I kind of say to myself all the time, I'm really good at problem solving. I solve people's problems like magic. I'm very helpful with people and all that stuff. But then I'm curious all the time. So I'm like, okay, well, why is it in your life, in your family life, was romance not a part of the dialogue? It wasn't there. It was never there. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do, especially during the pandemic. I found maybe people come on. I feel like during the pandemic, I was like, well, my life is a little cold. I mean, I have friendships and I have other things, but when it gets crazy and I'm not liking what's on the news and the world is going crazy, I might want to have something a little more warmer than the sort of life I built up. And I found that to be hard. I had a reading a couple of years ago and I stumped the reader. It was psychic. She was doing all this reading and I came to the phone. I said, do you believe that some people are destined not to have romantic love? And she said, what do you mean? I said, I don't mean love. I have love in my friendship, my family. I have a lot of love around me, but romantic love. And she said, there was no continuation of the answer. And I'm not really threatened by that. I believe some people are born not to have romantic love. And I'm not sure that the question for me is, I'm not sure if I'm one of those people. Because when I was younger, I just jumped out there exploring and just doing things to see if I could feel something. And it was horrific as a young gay person in New York City. It was not the best thing to do. I had nobody to teach me. Now I'm curious about it. I'm curious about ways I could investigate that in a way that wouldn't frustrate me, because I have no patience for ignorance and stupidity and the BS. I told Kempire, Miss Keisha, I read them quick. I throw them away. I keep it moving. I don't have time for the BS at this age. I'm a man in my 40s. I've got time, Miss Keisha.
Right.
I don't have the time for that crap. So, but what I'll ask you is, as I said, my dilemma is that I want to be a little softer. I could be hard. I grew up in New York City. I'm just about my business. I keep it moving. But
Right.
I've been reading and I say, you know what, in this new year, I want to learn how to be a little more patient. I want to be open to understanding I don't know everything when it comes to this subject. I was never taught this. So how do you go into something that was horrific when you were a teenager or when you were a young man, and now you're revisiting this subject in your 40s in a way that you're trying not to judge it too harshly? That's kind of where I'm at now. I feel like I know what this is about, but I'm curious to go into it and not judge it too harshly.
Before you answer, Keisha, I thought this was, Jamie says, this reminds me of Luther Vandross, for those that may have seen the Luther Vandross documentary, and how he wanted to be loved. Everyone deserves love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we define what that is. Love, and that's the thing about love. It's very interesting because, what I might think is love or romantic love might be very different for what Kemp think is, romantic love, and what your expectations of that is. But I would also start it by defining what love means to me, and don't, it's wonderful that you can acknowledge what your family's relationships and what that dynamic is. But not because that was that dynamic, you have to define your love and your romantic relationships that way. You can create that yourself. You can learn that yourself. I don't know if you speak another language, but if you wanted to learn to speak Spanish, you could learn anything that you want to. You can create this however you want to. You just have to be open to it. And I'm not saying you're not open to it. Stop defining it based on other people's values, how they defined it. They didn't make it important. So therefore, you grew up in a world that I don't really need it. I could take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you want it, I'm hoping that you're not judging yourself for wanting it because you grew up in an environment where it seemed that wasn't of great value. But
Right.
not because a diamond is valuable to me means a diamond's valuable to you. You placed a value on love. You define what love is for you, and you set those boundaries and expectations to suit you. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. And I would tell you, I'll go a little deeper. I love this conversation. Miss Keisha, when I was my friends, some of them got married, divorced, but they are just romantic people. Like one of my queens, Miss Elizabeth Taylor. I love her movies, so I watch her all the time. And I love the fact that she loved love. And I see how loves work. I see how romantic love, I see how romantic love works in their lives. I go, that's pretty cool. You come home and, you got this, okay, that might be, because that wasn't something younger I was into. So
Right.
I'm really interested in learning about that. Yeah, I definitely am interested. And I do, for me, what I will say, when I was trying it when I was younger, and I don't know if this is a pattern, if it's my karma or whatever it is, I never gave man money in my life. The people have been generous to me, so that's just been a blessing for me. But what I will say is that even though it wasn't money, I did give them of my energy. My energy was drained by a lot of men, Miss Keisha, in my time. And I
Set
feel
your
like
boundaries.
yeah,
Set your
and I feel like
boundaries.
I attracted people who needed help with something. The thing was for me, they always had their life together financially, but they had issues with their parents. They had issues with an ex this. And I was solving all these things all the time. And then once they were, kind of fixed or whatever, they became, I would say, it wasn't to my standard. I didn't like the way I was treated in those situations. I do have a standard, and if I don't like it, it's not. I'll let them know.
Well, let me just point this out to you. The first thing you said when you started this conversation is, I could fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
You said I could fix anything. So that's the energy already putting out. So stop fixing anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So your homework now is to write down. We're really big on writing down is what you need to define what love in a relationship means to you. And if you don't want a fixer, don't introduce yourself as a fixer.
Okay.
Introduce yourself as like a loving, compassionate, warm person. And try that on for size and see how that feels.
Listen. Thank you, Miss Keisha. I love it. I never thought about it this way. So you're right. I that's my red sign around me. I fix everything and I trap that. I read Esther Hicks, and I didn't think about it that way. Absolutely, I will do this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a follow-up question because one of the things that Mel mentioned was that he believes that some people come into this life and they are, they're not meant to have love or to fall in love. I wanted to hear your perspective on that, Keisha. Do you believe that? I know he's wondering whether or not he's one of those people.
I definitely don't believe that, but I can't say that for you. Do you know what I mean? If you internalize that and you identify as that, then that will be true. But I definitely don't think so. I think there's a lot of people out there. It's not one person either. And a follow-up to your follow-up is like, Mel said when he was younger, relationships are different, but that changes too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What you like last week, you may not like this week. You know what I mean? So no, I think it's really important to define what these things mean to you, especially if we don't have examples of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have to use somebody as that worked for them, it didn't work for them. So take pieces of all the relationships, even the movies that you like, and then that is your vision of what a loving, healthy relationship looks like.
I love it. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Calling in.
Let's say it again, Kempire.
No, thanks for calling in again. I love the fact that you call in as a part, because we know we have a variety of different types of people that call in, but I love that you call in to represent for some folks that are of our particular age and our community. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. Listen, have a good weekend. I'm going to do my homework, Miss Keisha. I never heard this before. I read my books, but this is a very simple one, but I'm going to work on it this weekend. Absolutely.
Absolutely. You take care. You stay in touch. Let us know how it goes.
I will. Thank you.
Take care.
I love it. And I also love the fact that like when Arjan called in, I didn't expect, us to be talking about that culturally. I think that's important. And shout out to those that are part of the replay crew. Be sure to let us know your thoughts. I'm sure Keisha will go back and read some of your comments and respond to some of your comments. Okay. So stay tuned for that if you have a question. And again, live chat for those that are just joining us. If you do have a question for myself or Keisha, just post a Q and a colon and your question, and hopefully I will see it. If I don't see it, please copy, paste, and share it again. I did save a couple of things that you guys are saying in the live chat. Xtina says, I love this live. I feel so validated with what Keisha is saying. Love yourself first. Thank you so much. Danny, I'm going to frame this as a question. So Danny says, I just don't like the dating process. Feels like a job. What would you say to someone like Danny, Keisha?
Well, Danny, if you feel like it's a job, it's never going to be fun. You know what I mean? You it's what you make of it. It could be fun if you want it to be fun, but if you think it's homework and it's heavy lifting, then don't go. You make it what it is. But I mean, I love dating. I think it's fun to go out, have a meal, chat, go home. Maybe I not go again, but that's me. I think it's fun. So Danny, I would say, just change your feeling about it. It doesn't have to be so heavy. It doesn't have to be like, oh, who's buying dinner? Well, cross that bridge when you get there. Make it light.
I think a lot of people don't make it light. I think there's a lot of expectations. Like, could this be the one? Or maybe you had a really great first date and you're like, oh my gosh, I've never had this feeling before. And I also understand, because this is why it's important to talk about people that come from different walks of life.
Right.
As a gay man, I'm not thinking about fertility. I'm not thinking about having children. But there are women that are watching this that are like, I just turned 35. I want to get married. I want to have a child. I don't want to have a child out of wedlock. So
Right.
there's this pressure that I don't think people are realizing that they're saying to themselves.
Right.
I talk to myself all the time, but
Right.
I'm very
Yeah.
intentional with what I say to myself. But a
Right.
lot of people aren't aware
Right.
of what they're saying to themselves or writing down. And sidebar, in regards to writing down, don't feel like you have to get a pad and pen. I know
Right.
some people are like, oh God, the Aries, they have no problem getting a pad and pen.
Right.
But you always have your phone, so
Right.
utilize your phone, okay?
Like voice,
For that.
leave a voice to yourself, a voice message.
Or that, yes, exactly. But so, Danny, I saw this comment and I was like, oh, no, I think a lot of people probably feel the way that you do. And I think that is important. I think it's also important to take your first date or your second date or your third or fourth, fifth. Enjoy the process, because if you're not enjoying it, you're creating an energy that's
Right.
going to make the relationship feel like work and
Right.
not feel fun from the
Right.
beginning. Who wants that?
Right. And to piggyback on what you said about people with their, they're getting older. Da, 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 da. I understand how you still have to make it light, because you don't want to go in with that energy that you're on a schedule, you're on a clock, I got to get this done. That's your schedule, that's your clock. Those are your expectations that you're now placing on somebody else. We don't like when people place that on us, so let's not do it then. But if you go on the date and you can't make it light and this, we all know by the first 30 minutes if we like this person.
Mm.
We know.
Or the
We
first
don't
30
have to
seconds
finish
for some of
dinner.
us.
Huh?
Or the first 30 seconds for some of us.
It's true. You don't need to go to dinner. Do you know what I mean? To know. Sometimes a text message just hits you wrong, then don't go.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And that's, making it light doesn't mean like being like flighty or ditzy about it. That's not what it means. It means like, making it light. It's like, okay, they sent me a text. Now you're feeling obligated to go because you've texted each other 3 times or for the last month or the last week. Oh, let me go. If you start like, I may as well, not working, move on. You know what I mean? Move on. You 100% know.
So I'm saving some of the comments back here, guys, because some of the comments I feel like can be questions that we answer. Dr. Annie says, I do enjoy dating and having fun. I haven't met any man as of yet that I want to be serious with. What would you say to that?
What's the problem with that?
Mm.
There's no problem with that.
Yeah.
Unless you think there's something wrong with that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Dainty Bella says, I'm 35 and I just enjoy dating. I'm not chasing a timeline on having children. If it happens, great. And if not, it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely. That's very empowering.
This would be a great question. And Dub, who I met during our LA show, says, location matters. I love dating, but dating in Vegas is not for me. This is my second time living here and it's still a no. What would you say to that, Keisha?
I think what we say, we create. Our words create. So if you keep telling yourself that Vegas is not for me, it will never be for you. So if you feel that somewhere else will work for you, it will work for you. Your words create your reality. So if it's not Vegas and you know where it is, then that's where you need to find yourself.
But there are so many people in Vegas and so many people that visit Vegas.
Right.
The love of your life could literally fly in because they're going to, an event or a convention or something like that. And by happenstance, you run into them.
Right. But if you keep telling yourself, I never find love in Vegas, you're not going to find the happenstance.
Yeah, that person's not going to bump into you.
Right. Right.
But you have to think like how I just thought. Like you could meet them
anywhere.
anywhere.
Be light about it. Be light about it. Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, can you imagine if I said that living in New York?
No, I'd be saying like, what?
We're not judging End Up.
Right.
Okay, so we'll get back to some of your questions, guys. Keep posting your questions and comments in the live chat, and we will get to them. We do have quite a few people that are backstage that want to share their thoughts and experiences or ask questions, so I want to get back to them. Just a reminder, this is a safe space, and the trigger warning is that some people might be sharing thoughts of just challenging things and abuse. So just be mindful of that. We have Kirby, who's been sharing a lot of thoughts in the comment section. Kirby, and I'm not judging. You've been talking about how much you're going to throw your money at Keisha right now. Kirby, what did you want to share tonight?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let me just start. I've never called in. Kempire, first of all, I just recently found you. I do not watch One Housewife, but because of you, I literally am on every live that you're on. Like, you have been such a great inspiration, and your whole, I don't know, just your whole vibe and your community. Just when I tell you, you have no idea how much joy you have brought to me. Just thank you. Like, seriously, you've been such a gem to find. Coach Keisha, you are about to take all of my retirement money. And I mean that with every sincere part of me. I have gotten more from you in this. What have we been on here? An hour and 30 minutes. And all of the wonderful people that have called in,
Right.
from Mel to the doctor saying she was dating, but she hasn't found anybody. Like, now if I could get my behind out there and just to have fun, that is enough. I'm 58, live in Los Angeles. Don't want to say too much because who knows who was on these platforms.
Right.
You scared me, Kempire, but I was like, I'm going to be brave and call in.
And I appreciate that.
Yes. And I know that I have a lot going for myself yet because I am 58 and I know that's not 88 and have been hurt. Something you said triggered me, and I wanted, of course, we will delve in privately when I give you all my money.
Right.
But I heard you say, what are you afraid of?
Right.
Now, that I could unpack like for months on end.
Right.
But where does one begin to start with that?
Whatever comes to mind. Whatever comes to mind. There's no order in it. There's no right or wrong in it. And it changes. What you're afraid of tonight is going to be different than tomorrow night. And what you're afraid of right now, I mean, we're human. We have feelings. Things change. The weather changes and, like everything. So don't worry. If you're right in a straight line or upside down, it really doesn't matter once you get it out. It's a good place to start.
Okay. And then the other question is, and I'm going to make it real short.
Sure.
What if you don't like people?
You're
Because
fine, Kirby.
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
Dog us out hard, but we're soft, but I'm a blocker and a deleter as well. Like, I don't play. Like, I don't have time to be messing around with people. Like, I just don't. But I find that there's not a lot of people that I find interesting. And I become like a joke because I say to people, oh, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm good staying home with the dog. And it's not that I want to stay home with the dog. It's because you aren't interesting enough for me to leave the house.
Mm.
So let me ask you, what's wrong with that?
Well, when you want to spend time with someone.
Yeah, but you want to, so it sounds to me like your time is valuable. Who you
Very.
spend your time with is also very important to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if the people, places, and things that are currently in your life right now are not working for you or stimulating you in the way that you want to be stimulated, conversation, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it might be, go to a different Starbucks in a different neighborhood, go to a different gym, go to a different, just switch it up a little bit. And
Okay.
you know what I mean? Just to be a little bit more open, because it doesn't sound like you don't want to meet people. It just sounds like the ones that you're surrounded by right now, it's just not doing it for you. That is fine. Again, we're being real in 2025. We're not being perfect.
Yeah.
If you know that it isn't working for you, switch it up. Switch it up just a little bit. Little changes. Another coffee shop can make a world of difference for you.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And just thank the both of you. Like, Kempire, oh my gosh. Coach Keisha, I'm gonna be like, look, Lisa, I don't have time. Oh, look at me. That's my real name. Look at me telling on myself. See, Kempire, I'm not used to this. I'm gonna be like, Lisa, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for you. I'm literally, where do I find you? Like, Kempire, where do I go to find her link?
Yeah, all of that information is in the description, and our mods are posting it in the live chat as well.
Awesome.
But literally, again, all of Keisha's information is in the description. Her email address, her Instagram, all of that's available there. So you can send an email and set up a day for you guys to have a conversation. You have a free 30-minute consultation, and you get 15% off with our code Kempire. So don't forget that part.
Oh, I won't. And thank the both of you so very much and happy Valentine's Day.
You too,
I
Kirby.
look
Thank you so
forward
much.
to seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So rewarding, these conversations.
Yeah.
I
See how
love it.
hard everyone is on themselves, though? It's like, she's like, well, I don't like anybody. Okay, so.
That's an earth sign thing, I think. Because she said she's a Capricorn. I'm a Taurus. I'm sure the Virgos probably feel the same way. Aries too? Oh, okay. No.
I mean, I say it,
Yeah,
but
you do.
the difference between, I think, other signs and a fire sign saying is like, there's no guilt when we say it.
Oh, no guilt. I don't have guilt about it.
Okay, we'll see. Well, you have a little Leo in you there, though.
Yeah, I have
So
a Leo moon.
yeah.
I have a guilt about it.
You
Because
can't apologize. You should not, and let's stop apologizing for our feelings. Our feelings are not here to hurt somebody else's feelings. Our feelings are our feelings.
Yeah.
And if someone is hurt by our feelings, well, they may not be our someone.
Yeah. I have to say recently, because I've decided I want to get back into the dating world because I'm so much about career. But one of the things that a lot of astrologers and people that I've met, healers, have said, your career will elevate when you find love.
Right. Because
and
the balance.
That intrinsically.
Right.
But I did find myself just like going through the apps and things like that. And I'm just like, oh my God, these people are annoying. I don't like anyone here.
And I think people say that too because life is really about finding a balance.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And a lot of us feel that if I do this, it's going to take away from that. A lot of people don't realize that if I do this, it might add to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Definitely. All right. So we have a few people backstage. So I want to get to them
as
well. Again, for those that are just joining us, this is our special dating, and we talk a little sprinkle of astrology as well. Safe space for those that should judge us for talking about astrology. This is a safe space for us to talk about it. But this is also a safe space for people to share their thoughts, their opinions, and their dating experiences and questions. So feel free. Again, replay crew, we apologize that you missed it, but we set this reminder up a couple of days ago.
Right.
Next time we will be live on Valentine's Day. Woo to us. But we will be bringing Tana from Love Match Atlanta to answer and give you guys some dating tips. So stay tuned for that next Friday as well. You guys got me busy. All right, on my Friday night on a Valentine's Day. Till I'm single. All right. Which is fine. Not for long. Okay. Let's get to some more callers. We got Scarlett backstage. We're going to bring Scarlett up next. Scarlett, what did you want to ask or share?
Hi, Kempire. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you at the club?
I am. Okay, I'm not at the club. I'm actually like driving a little bit to kill time because I've been listening this whole entire time. You guys have been dropping gems. Hi, Coach Keisha.
Hi.
I'm a little nervous. It's my first time calling in. I usually do send the super chats. So just as a briefing, I'm 35 years old. I have a 4-year-old. I a post-divorcee. I got divorced in 2023. Separated in 2022. Divorced in 2023. And to make a long story short, I don't want to be long with it. Is I was in a relationship with someone who ended up essentially being like a green card marriage. He was somebody that I known when we would visit in Jamaica. And I had known him for years. We pretty much developed a relationship a couple years later. And I got with him overseas because he was working in another country at the time. And pretty much I decided that, this is a person that I wanted to be with. I got him here in the country and, we got married a few months later, despite my mother saying, no, I don't think this is a good idea. I'm Aquarius, so I like to kind of do my own thing. And I decided this is the best step for me. Long story short, it was a tumultuous marriage, very emotionally abusive marriage. And to add in, I was pregnant during the pandemic. We got separated in 2022. The straw that broke the camel's back was when I took a solo trip for my birthday and he accused me to Aruba and he accused me being with somebody on that trip and I was with no one. So he has done everything under the sun except for physical. When you talk about emotional abuse, it was like down to the T with the narcissism, gaslighting, making me feel uneasy around friends and family, just the whole nine. And I had been in traumatic situationships prior to that. So when I think back, I realized that maybe one of the reasons why I jumped into that relationship was because I was love bombed, because I'd been in such bad situations prior to that I felt like this was the one. But I did decide to get divorced in 2023. It took a few months for the situation to happen because we were living with with my parents when we got married, because something in me told me never to move in with this man. And I'm glad to this day that I didn't, because I think that the situation would have been worse. We got divorced. He got the house, and shortly after was trying to find a home for himself and tried to get it in my father's name. That's a whole other story. He tried to, do a lot of manipulative. Yeah, yeah. He tried to get a house, and he convinced my father to co-sign for the house in his name. And thankfully, the Lord did what he needed to do, and the bank denied it. But pretty much, he was trying to basically one up me by getting a home, and he tried to go through all types of avenues. He didn't get it, obviously, but shortly, a few months later, we found out that he actually was with another woman, moved in with that girl, and got her pregnant shortly after. So it would have been a situation where if he would have gotten that house, him and that girl would have probably been living together with a house under my father's name. So
Wow.
there is
He's not the,
that's Mhm.
Scarlett, he's not the father of your child.
He is the father of my
Oh, he
child.
is the
Yeah.
father. Okay.
Yeah, so I have to deal with co-parenting, and it has its ebbs and flows, but it's sometimes just triggering because a lot of things I had to deal with. So I've pretty much been single this entire time. I have not dated. I've not been intimate with anybody. And my question is I don't want to make the same mistakes. I know what I don't want, but I have trouble in really navigating what I do want, because I'm afraid that if I get into another situation that I did, like with my divorce, I mean, with my previous partner, where I was infatuated, I feel like I'm just going to blur out, all the red flags just for the chance to be in love again. So it's either like black or white. It's either I don't get into any relationship or get into a relationship, and then now this, these situations happen. So my question is what are what are some practical ways that, like, maybe affirmations? I know you said writing down, but it's like when you feel like you're about to make a bad decision, what should I do in that moment to kind of reel myself back in and say, Janelle, you know you're not supposed to talk to this person. Janelle, you're not supposed to go to this guy's house. Janelle, you know that this kind of date is not, I mean, this kind of person is not for you. Don't try and give them like a second chance. Like, how do you do that in that moment? Because I think I have trouble. I write things down, I'll pray about it. But when it's like in that moment, I get a little impulsive, and then I'm just like, okay, whatever, I'll be fine. And then next thing you know, I'm in another situation.
Okay. I would say to you, thank you. And I'm very, it's heartbreaking to hear stories like that. And so I appreciate you
Mm.
sharing your story with us. What I will say is, it sounds like you kind of understand when you were in a situation. I'm not sure how much you're
Yeah.
trusting your instincts when you're in these situations, but I'm going to talk to you to work a little bit on your self-esteem. That would be my first suggestion,
Okay.
because I feel like if you truly valued yourself, you would respect, yourself a little bit more. It's not about him
Uh-huh.
or them or the relationships, because you
Yeah.
see the red flags. You're telling yourself the red flags, but you're not respecting your own opinion or your evaluation of these flags. And
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
so you're not trusting your own self because you're not giving yourself value. So part of the reason when you jump into some of these relationships, your partner's taking lead on this because you're just like forfeiting your intuition. You're forfeiting how you feel about this because you're not
Yeah.
trusting it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
I know that, self-esteem has been a big thing for me, and I've gone to therapy, and I've worked on a lot, But I think the practicality of like really saying to myself, okay, these things are not worth my value is where I struggle. So like I
And
can
start
say it in my
small.
mind, but then
Start
yeah,
small. Like,
yeah,
like I am okay. I am a good person. I am a loving person. I am a giving person. Like, say things that feel normal and natural to you. If
yeah,
you're walking around saying that I am gorgeous, and I'm not saying you're not saying that and that's like stretching it, say things that come
mhm,
easy and natural and it feels comfortable for you to say about yourself. That's what it is. Because, we
yeah,
all start, if I sit here and I say, oh my gosh, Keisha, you look so good at 6 feet tall. That's not true. That's a lie. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So say things that feel comfortable and organic to you. So you're not
yeah,
faking it, being real about yourself and accepting, I'm a nice person. You could start with nice. If nice is too big for you, I'm okay. I'm an okay
mhm,
person.
mhm,
Like
mhm,
start
mhm.
small until you could build up because you're not trusting you.
Mm.
That's what it boils
Mhm.
down to. You're not trusting you.
Yeah,
And people sense that. So if they know that you're not
yeah,
trusting you, they're taking over and and they're going to, do whatever they need to do or think they need to do. So start trusting yourself. You know it, but
mhm.
you need to start adding value to yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
really appreciate that. I'm definitely going to, but I think that this is going to be my year two date. But I'm going to definitely take what you said and work on that before I jump in the pool.
Absolutely. Start loving yourself, start accepting yourself, and you're okay.
Thank you, Scarlett.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Whew. Okay, guys, you're just joining us. This is our third special Dating and Astrology Live here on the Kempire channel. But as you know, that's not the only thing that we talk about here on the channel. You missed quite a few recaps from Real Housewives, the Salt Lake City recap to Beverly Hills and New York City, but also some hot topics. We reported earlier today on Amanda Seales' beef and why she stopped talking to Issa Rae. So be sure to check that out. We cover a lot of that here on the channel. And for more information on our special guest for tonight, Life Coach Keisha, will be available in the description. She is giving you guys a free 30-minute consultation plus 15% off using the discount code Kempire for your session. All right. Let's get to some more callers and we will get to some of the. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go for, well, reminder. Today's live show is sponsored by our friends over at Rose Forever. Valentine's Day is literally a week away, guys. These roses are 2 years old. Okay. So that should tell you something about what Rose Forever will do. They promise, though, at least a year your roses will look beautiful. There's all types of bouquets and flowers and even candles available there. And of course, we've gotten you a discount code. Head on over to the description for more details. Kempire 20 for $20 off. Get you a little something. We're talking a lot about self-love. So why not get yourself? Let me tell you something. Walking into the house with some flowers or roses is always going to make you feel a little bit better. Or whatever type of roses or flowers that you enjoy. Maybe it's actual plants. Do something for yourself.
Right.
All right. All right. Let me just go back to some of the comments that I say. Vlog with Namali asked the question, how do I find what kind of men I like?
How do you find?
Are
I
we
think
talking like apps? Or are we talking about like what's your first thought on the question?
Well, I feel like if she doesn't know the kind of man that she likes, there's no way we can guide her in finding that. I think at this point, she should know. And that goes back to values. See, a lot of my people out there are looking for people to tell them what they like. Oh, you like this. This is what you like. You like when I talk to you like this. You like when I do this for you. No, I like this. Guys, if you don't know what you like and you don't know what self love is and you don't know what self care is, how can someone offer that to you?
Mm, yeah. If I was to take the question in another way, if she knows the kind of men that she likes and she's asking, how do I find them?
If she's not finding them, she's not in the right space for them. Do you know what I mean? Like the right mental space, the right environment. So that's something you'd have to, it's like the other caller that we just had. It's like, I have all these people in my life, but it's not the right type of people. Change your environment. Like I said, it could be as easy as like going to a different coffee shop, going to a different, a different restaurant that you usually go. Like change up your routine. If you walk out your house and you go left every day, try going right for your run today. Like just, it's, like you can change your habits much easier than you think. It doesn't have to be this huge, like, oh, I have to do this. No, guys, don't go left today, go right.
Mm.
You know?
Cleopatra's question is, how soon is too soon to date after heartbreak?
I think only you can know that. I know a lot of people jump into relationships very quickly after heartbreak, and that typically is because we're looking for the validation.
Mm.
That's why, it's like, I'm going to start dating because, see, you didn't like me, he likes me, or she likes me, and da 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 da. So that's really what you get to decide that. I'm not here to tell you that. It's
Mhm.
what's comfortable for you. Just make sure you're not looking for the validation because that other person stepped out.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So, and you need somebody to step in that shoe kind of thing. So,
I think a lot of people are basing their dating decisions off of how they grew up, what their
right.
parents told them, what their friends tell them, what the society tells them in regards to rules for dating. If you were with the person for a year, you
Right.
should
I
wait
may,
a amount
well,
of time. Yeah, so I think if you 'cause some people after getting out of a relationship or a marriage feel ready the next week. So go
right.
on a date.
Right. Ask yourself, is this really my story?
Mm.
Like, is this really my story? Like, or is this my parents' story? Is this my cousin's story? Like, whose story
Oh, my
is it?
girlfriend's story.
Right. Like, and quit telling everybody because they're giving you all kinds of stories. And now you're
It's a big
confused.
trauma.
Yeah. And it's like, is this really my story? Or am I borrowing somebody's story? You know what I mean? Like, why are you owning this? So it's a good
Hard.
place to start. Ask yourself if it's your story. Don't own it if it's not yours. Give it back.
Most definitely. Mr. Melanin Magic Mr. Melanin Magic, this is the first time we've seen a picture of you. Oh, wait, no, that's me. Is that me or you? Who is that? You know what? Mr. Melanin Magic says, how would you tell someone to get out there that hasn't dated before?
How would I tell them to get out there? I think that dating is not as complicated as we make it out to. Like I go back to the coffee shop. You can go to the coffee shop a couple times a week and somebody's going to say hello to you if
Mm.
you're open to it. But if you go to the coffee shop and you look like you're sucking on something sour and you have on your headphones and you don't say thank you when somebody gives you your coffee or you don't open the door or you know what I mean? Like little things like that. It doesn't have to be that complicated, guys. Just make yourself open a little bit to receiving a gesture, to receiving a good morning and
Smile.
smile. Yeah. We're in a zone, we're ordering our coffees and we are on our phones. We're ordering, you know what I mean? Yes, they're everywhere. You're not making eye contact with anyone. And I know that is a little scary too, sometimes the times that we're living. But, look down on your phone and look up a little bit too and feel it out. Feel it out. Guys, trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. You know when you're in a comfortable situation and when you're in an uncomfortable situation. So give yourself a little credit.
I'm trying to figure out what that photo is from. That's me. He never has a picture of himself. So I was like, wait, is that a picture of someone? No,
Oh,
it's a picture of me. I don't know where that was from. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Mama Ali says, hey, I found love in rural Wisconsin. You can find love too. In regards to N-Dub's question.
yeah.
It's true. You can find love anywhere. For
Yeah.
all you know, again, there's been someone there waiting for you their entire lives. You just got to be ready and open for it.
And stop telling you that it's not there. That's the
We
first
had
step.
someone, I think last week, with a similar question in regards to, like, I'm never going to find love in this small town. Trust me, there's no one here. I was like, you don't know that.
Well,
What's
that's
the
how you started your story. So you'll never find love. So
Most definitely. Guys, if you haven't already, liking the video is an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels that talk about similar topics or might be covering a similar topic like this one. And this is how we continue to grow our community. And this video, which I feel like is helping a lot of people, might help someone that might be new to our channel and might one day say to us, oh, Kempire, I discovered you during your dating live. And now I love everything else that you have on the channel. So be sure to like the video. It's easy and it's free. And more information on Life Coach Keisha will be available in the description. All right, we'll get back to some of the questions that you guys have in the live chat. Again, if you have any questions, please post them in the live chat and I will try and save them so that we can get to them. But we have some people backstage that want to ask questions. I'm going to bring up Miss Parker next. Hold on. Miss Parker, what's going on? How are you?
Hi, you guys. How are you?
Good,
How are
thank you.
you?
Good. Hi, Kempire. I'm coming out of the bushes.
I see that.
So, just a little bit about me. I am a Scorpio. I'm a single mom. My son just turned 11.
Oh.
And I have not been in a relationship and or dating since his father and I broke up, and that was in like 2018.
Mm.
And since that time, my goal has always been set on being like, that's just like my thing. And I'll tell people, like, I feel like my whole identity is being a mom.
Mm.
My motivation in life, even for work, is to work hard to be a good mom.
Mm.
So I'm just wondering, like, I don't feel like I'll meet people because unless I'm in a setting, because I'm always doing activities with my son. So I'm like, I guess I'm not going to meet somebody unless they're at the bounce house or or they're at swim lessons and things like that. So that's usually like how it is. I'm not closed off to it, but like I'm truly focused on my son.
Mm.
And pretty much like his father and I do not co-parent well. I can't even really call it. It's more, what do they call it? Where it's not co-parenting, let's just say that.
Mm.
So, and I'm the main caregiver, and my son does have special needs. So that is an added layer. So how do you think that somebody like me should navigate that? And I also don't want to feel like pressured to be out there because I feel like if I do something like that, it'll take away from my son.
Mm.
That's what it is. She's right. Parallel parenting. That's exactly what it is.
Mm. Okay. Keisha?
So, what is exactly you looking to do? Because you defined yourself as being a mom, and being a good mom is very important to you. So, what else would you like to add to your plate other than being a good mom, and that you're allowed to be on your plate? Because you sound like you don't want anything else to be a distraction from you being a good mom. So, what exactly are you looking for in addition to being a good mom?
So somebody who would be just like one of the callers or the questions was, she's a 4-year-old with autism, and it's kind of like that fear of, I don't want people just coming around my son because there are some strange people out here in the world. Just like,
So, are you
I don't
looking
want
for
to be,
a relationship, a romantic relationship? Are you looking to date? What are we looking for here?
I would like to eventually date just to get back out there.
So you should start doing that. And I have to say to the moms out there listening, if you're going out on a date and somebody's buying you a coffee or somebody's buying you lunch or dinner, does not make you a bad mom. It does not make you a bad mom. Does not mean that you're not prioritizing your home or your family, your child, nothing. It means that
Yeah.
you're going out with an adult to have a meal. That's all it means. And then you could decide if you like this person, if you want to see them again, if they're worthy of bringing home to meet my family and my child. It's okay. You can go have a meal as an adult with someone of the opposite sex, the same sex. You don't question it with other people. So don't judge yourself. Don't judge your behavior, and don't judge yourself for wanting to do something like that. You're not a bad mom if you go out to dinner with someone. You're not neglecting your family if you go out to dinner with someone. And don't introduce anybody to your children, your family, until you're sure that's something that you want. Because right now you just want to go out to dinner or have coffee or walk in the park when the weather is nice.
This reminds me of something that I learned a long time ago and something that we've discussed here in the channel before when we talk about relationships, especially when people are married. But I think this is so relevant to you as well, Ms. Parker, is that it's important in order for you to be the best mom to pour into yourself. And pouring into yourself includes being, going out there and having a good time, and be that with friends and family, but also in a partnership and in love and dating and having fun with dating, you will become an even better mom and a better example because of that.
Right.
So keep that in mind as well.
Right. We've had callers earlier tonight talking about they haven't seen examples of love or relationships as well, Miss Parker. So just, don't be so hard on yourself and your actions. And it's okay to go out and share a meal, a coffee or something with whomever, and know that you're still a good mom, and your child is still a priority, and their needs are still a priority, but you're a person too, and you want a different type of relationship, and that's okay.
Thank you for that. I totally appreciate that because I so feel that if I even open up that door, that somehow that's neglecting my son. So
No,
I appreciate
absolutely
that.
not. Just remember some of the other callers that are calling in to say that they didn't see that, they never had that. So
Yeah.
see the value in being a parent that is happy and is, you know what I mean? Relationships does not always have to be ugly, dramatic, and traumatic. They can be loving and beautiful and wonderful too, and people want to see that. And that's a beautiful lesson to teach your children and your families as well.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Let us know how it goes.
I
Definitely.
sure will. Thank you, Kempire.
Good night.
Take
You
care.
too.
Miss Parker, because I was using the green screen for some of my videos, and Miss Parker said, "This reminds me of the old school Kempire dates." And I said, Miss Parker has been following for a long time because I have not used that green screen
Oh.
in a few years. So shout out to Miss Parker. Shout out to those. And again, for those that are in the live chat or those of you watching the replay, please sure to let us know how long you've been watching the channel as well. Guys, also don't forget, you can book a session, a free 30-minute consultation with life coach Keisha in the description. But don't forget, you can also get 15% off when you use the code Kempire. All right. All of Keisha's information will be available in the description. And replay crew, be sure to let us know your thoughts, questions, and things like that in the comments section as well. And always don't forget to like the video. And don't forget, you can take us on the go by subscribing to the Kempire podcast. While you're there, it's very important as well, just very much like liking the video, to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That allows us to continue to grow what we've been growing here, both on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, and on Facebook. So we appreciate, thank you to those that have already given us a 5-star rating on those platforms. We greatly appreciate it. We also greatly appreciate our channel members in the live chat and in the replay crew. And of course, we also appreciate our King's Guards, aka moderators. So be sure to share some love with them as well. Before we bring up Miss Esquire, I wanted to answer some more questions that we had in the live chat, and then we're gonna wrap this up. We're not going to do a 5-hour live because when we have guests, I try not to do it. But we're already going on 2 hours. No, we're over 2 hours now. Okay,
We're good.
Okay, all right. Maybe I'm not good now. I'm playing.
Right.
I did 5 hours. I'm fine. Dee Dee, I might have to take a little bathroom break.
Yeah.
Okay. Dee Dee says, okay, in Dee Dee's question, how can you love again when you have debilitating trust issues? Ooh. How can you love again when you have debilitating trust issues?
I think that's another piece of homework about self-reflection, finding out what is going on with you, that you're attracting people that are second guessing your trust, because the trust issues usually start with yourselves, guys.
Mhm.
You don't trust your instincts, you don't trust you. Again, you project that onto other people and they just reflect it back to you.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's a deeper issue. And I mean, trust issues runs the gamut, but that is also homework of a little self-reflection. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? What am I doing? What am I giving? What am I expecting? What am I sharing? Am I giving the wrong message again here? So,
The other thing that I would say in regards to this, very mindful of what we've been saying throughout this live, is be mindful of the words that you're using. I don't want to say that what you're going through isn't debilitating, but the intensity of that word, I'm sure if you called in and you explained it to us, we probably wouldn't view it like that. And maybe after discussing it, you wouldn't view it as debilitating.
Feel that way? Yeah.
But I'm sure for you, it does feel that way. But I think writing that down,
Right.
I sense that I was like, oh, that's pretty
You're
serious.
labeling yourself, and again, that could be a lot of things. Are you living up to the label? Are you telling yourself a story? Is that your story? So there's a lot to unpack there with a word that's so heavy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay. All right. I want to answer another question, then we'll bring up Miss Esquire. Tiffany says, how do you get back into the dating scene after a long-term relationship? Where do you start? Before you answer that, I'm going to take a little of a potty break and leave it up to Keisha to answer. I will share my opinion when I come back. All right, guys, let me just first turn off my camera. And
Okay, Miss Tiffany. So if you've not, if you've, what is it, after a long time, how do you get back on the scene? I know this sounds very simplistic to everyone, but it's just switching up your daily routine, switching up your daily habits. Like I said, sometimes it's as easy as going somewhere different, meeting new people. If that's a little bit difficult for you, it's like, you know what? I always go to the Starbucks on, 15th Street. Let me go to the Starbucks on 16th Street. It's just really important to make baby steps, do things a little differently, and start to open yourself up. It goes back to the comment that Kemp and I made before. It's like sometimes we go places and our head's on the phone or we have on headphones. We don't really acknowledge somebody who opened the door for us. We don't really make eye contact with anybody. All those things get you prepared and get you comfortable back in the scene. Some of us who haven't been dating or just was in a long-term relationship really don't know how to reintroduce ourselves into the world per se. So I think it's about easing ourselves back into the scene. You don't have to jump into like a dating app and like go out. And if that's comfortable for you, do that as well. But don't overthink it. Just baby steps. Making a little eye contact out here and there. Do things that make you feel comfortable, but different from your regular routine. That would be my suggestion to you.
and I'm back. All right.
You give me 1 second, Cap. I'll be right back.
Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect. Guys, if you're just joining us, we have a special guest, life coach Keisha, that is here with us tonight answering some of your questions. Let me see if I have something I want to say in regards to this, Tiffany. And for those that are in the live chat, be sure to post your comments and questions as well. That way I'll be able to save them and go back to them. And when Keisha comes back, then I'll bring up Miss Esquire because I want to make sure she's able to hear everyone's question and story. But Tiffany says, how do you get back into the dating scene after a long-term relationship? Where do you start? Damn. Where do you start?
I mean, I give my little 2 cents already. I can repeat it if you want. I always think baby steps. I think it's something that people overthink, especially if you've been at it for a while. Like I said, you could jump on an app if that makes you feel more comfortable, but it's going, like I said, it's going to a coffee spot, doing something a little bit different, making a little bit of eye contact, maybe not wearing your earbuds when you go to the coffee, like you might say good morning to someone and say, thank you. You have to kind of reintroduce yourself, trust your instincts, feel comfortable again. That was my suggestion.
I think that's all good. I mean, look, I'm in a similar situation as well. I haven't really been in a serious relationship for a very long time, but you have to do what makes you comfortable.
Right.
And if you're still not seeing results, then you've got to start trying different things.
Right.
As Keisha has been mentioning before. I hope that was helpful, Tiffany. Thank you so much for sharing a question in the live chat. All right. Nash says that Nash was one of our Rose Forever winners last week. Just Kemp, my Rose Forever giveaway arrived. They are beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Nash, for being a part of the community. And congratulations on winning. I think that's amazing. Okay. All right. Let's bring up Miss Esquire. She's waited so patiently behind the scenes. We appreciate you, Miss Esquire. What did you want to ask?
Hi, good evening, Kemp. Good evening, Life Coach Keisha,
Hi.
chat mods. Hi. So I call in all the time, and I have never been as nervous to call in as I am today. And I just want everybody in the chat to know we're going to pretend like the next time I call in and am shady about the housewives that this never happened.
Agreed.
Because I'm a Virgo and I got a reputation to uphold. So my question, I'll give you a little bit of my scene and I'll try to be really succinct because it is getting late. So 5 years ago, I was single gal in my 30s, living in Los Angeles, kind of bi-coastal between Los Angeles and Tennessee, lawyer, doing my thing, having good times and not long times, but just really enjoying life. And that was my life 5 years ago. And I enjoyed it. I really loved it. And then flash forward 5 years later, I am a single parent of two. I have relocated back to Tennessee. I have buried a sister who is the mother of my two babies. I have two baby fathers who I never had any romantic relationship with, didn't have very much of a relationship with at all, who I now don't have to co-parent with. Co-parenting would be an improvement to our situation, but that who exist and complicate matters a little bit, but they, obviously have value as the fathers of these babies. I live in the burbs. I left my, downtown LA apartment to live out in like rural kind of suburban Tennessee. And so I say all that to say that my life looks unrecognizable to me. And I think I have been really struggling, particularly in the last 3 years, because like I said, I became like an instant mom or instant parent of two, rather, went through a custody dispute with my own sister, lost her, unfortunately. And so it's just like my life just doesn't look like at all what I thought it would. And so dating as this person is such a weird thing for me because that other person, like she knew how to date, honey. She had a great time. She twirled and enjoy. I like you.
Find her
Like,
and bring her back. Find her and bring her back.
I don't think she can. I think one of the things, and this is a thing that I talk to a lot of parents about, is I've finally gotten to the place where I no longer like bemoan the loss of that version of my life. Like I had to grieve that also and just let that was your life before you had this family structure. And now you have to build something new. So I think the challenge for me is dating looks different. I don't know that it can be as carefree as it used to be because I do have these two little ones and they are all that I have left of my sister on this earth. So I'm fiercely protective of them. And the values that I need in a man are, or in a woman, because I'm bi, would be a lot of kindness, a lot of patience, but a lot of flexibility. I don't even know that I would want someone to live with us. That's how flexible I would need a potential partner to be. They would have to be someone who understands everything that I have at the moment you meet me is reserved for these children. So you would have to sign a prenup. You would have to be comfortable that I have to secure their future because I'm their only, parent. And are you okay with that? That there's going to be things set up for them that ain't yours and you ain't get no access to. Like it feels like such a overwhelming situation to ask anybody to step into. So for the last 3 years, I haven't. Because I'm like, how do I even explain my life to a person? I can barely explain it to myself. So I think it would be helpful to know from you, how do I walk into dating in this new life that I have without feeling shameful for where my life is or not feeling like I have to apologize that it's so complicated? Because I think that's what I struggle with and why I'm not out there meeting people now.
Okay, so this is loaded and it's heavy, but I'm going to, and thank you for sharing it because I understand.
I'm so sorry to do that to you 2 hours and 15 minutes.
No, you're fine. No. But I would rewind all the way back to when I told you find that girl and, twirl. And the reason why I said that is because you retired her, which is fine. You could grieve her, but you didn't define who the new you is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you're not really sure. That's kind of why you feel overwhelmed with your own life because you retired her, but you didn't create a new you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So did you really retire the other pieces of you or not? So there's a kind of a limbo and a kind of a confusion going on internally with you. And I understand because it sounds like life just lifed around you and threw things at you.
Yeah.
But I think if you would just kind of get clear on, okay, this is my life. This is, this is what it looks like, or this is what I want it to look like. kind of thing. And you're feeling overwhelmed, and that's very understandable. But you're also thinking that how could somebody come into this life without feeling overwhelmed? They might come into this life feeling fine and deal with it okay. But because you feel overwhelmed, you're projecting that to somebody else that they will feel overwhelmed. So forget them right now. Your homework is really to define what you want your life to look like. That's what it is. And I understand the shame and the embarrassment. I'm not sure why you're feeling shame and embarrassment, but I also think that maybe the slight chaos is what you might be judging as
Yeah.
like, I don't have any clarity here. This is just a hot mess. So you might be judging yourself and your life a little harshly when nobody else is, because we're hearing your story and we're like, wow, she's brave. She's a soldier. Do you know what I mean? But that's not how you're
Yeah, it's
defining
just like, I'm
yourself.
like, you got to come into this and be like, okay, I got 2 kids. They're not my biological kids. I got
Yeah,
2
but
baby daddies. I ain't
you
never
don't
had
have
a
to
relationship
worry.
with them.
But don't worry about that fictional
Yeah.
person yet. You don't have to
Yeah.
explain that to that person yet. When you're grounded and solid in who you are and what you bring to the table, may it be 10 children, 2 children, it doesn't matter. When we're grounded and solid in who we are, we will meet the right people person that will complement that. But the key is to be true to who we are, and the rest follows. And I know that sounds so cliche, guys, but no. Be clear, map it out. This is my life. This is what I want it to look like. It's like when you get a new apartment, when you get a new house, you figure out where you're going to put the couch, where you're going to put you figure all those things out. But in life, we don't figure those things out for ourselves and we expect it to work perfectly. Take a step back and map your life out for yourselves. See what it looks like, what you want it to look like, what you want it to feel like. So you'll know where you need to make some changes or add or subtract. And then you could bring someone into your life and they might like the chaos and they might not even find it to be chaotic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I needed to hear that.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kemp. This never happened the next time we talked, okay?
I'm not done. Can I have my 2 cents?
Oh, come on. Give me your 2 cents.
First of all, our community, we get to know a lot of people, especially people that call in or are part of the live chat and things like that. So we've known Miss Esquire for quite some time. I actually met Miss Esquire in Nashville. Keisha, you were at the
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Miss Esquire was there as well. So I already knew Miss Esquire is an amazing person, and I knew a little bit about this story. But hearing this and hearing how you feel about where your life is when it comes to dating and everything that you're dealing with. First of all, you're a superwoman for handling what you're handling. And I am a strong believer, again, it might sound cliche that God only gives you what you can handle. So clearly, Virgo, you can handle it.
Right.
Oh, not a compliment for the Virgos, y'all. Clock it.
Don't get used to it. But here's the thing, and I always say, get you a Virgo when you want to get something done.
Right.
And you need to write that on a wall because it should be your mantra. And take away the Virgo and say, I will get this done. And you can get it done with children, with the baby's fathers, and finding the love of your life. You just have to believe it.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Map it out.
And I look forward to hearing more about it.
Me too.
Well,
Me too.
Okay, you will get it in the DMs. Thank
Yes.
y'all so much.
Thank you, Miss
I'm going to get on over to the chat. Bye, y'all.
Take care.
Oh, my goodness. God bless her. Oof.
I mean, I feel like the one common denominator we've heard so far tonight, Cam, but I don't know if you'll agree, is how people are so hard on themselves. There's always like, oh, am I doing it right? Am I enough? Can I get this right? And it's like, guys, yes, you're doing it. Like you're rock stars, you're soldiers, you're getting it done. Don't judge yourself so hard.
Yep. Okay, we're going to get to some more callers, guys. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share the video. And don't forget to subscribe. I know that quite a few of you have probably been watching the channel from the bushes and you haven't subscribed. So you're missing out on everything. Okay, you're missing out on when we have breaking news. You're missing out on our community posts. You're missing out when we have special lives like this because you're not following and subscribe. So make sure you subscribe and make sure that you're still respecting our community guidelines in regards to respecting and keeping this a safe space for people to share their stories, because this is a very sensitive time for a lot of people and they're really being very vulnerable. And for a lot of people, it's the first time that they're sharing this and they're sharing it publicly. So let's continue to create a safe space for people in the comment section and, of course, in the live chat. We're going to bring up Ariana in just a second. And then I think Ariana probably will be our last caller, unless because I know someone else was calling in, but they disconnected. So if they come back, we'll bring them up. But Fab Mitch says in the chat, oh, another Virgo. I'm a Virgo who is in the over 40 age range on the dating apps, had not a great experience. Should I try again on the apps or elevate to a matchmaker?
I mean, I think whatever works, guys. There's no right or wrong. I think be open to it. If a matchmaker is something you're interested in, try it. Have fun with it. Don't be like, oh, this isn't working kind of thing. Cause I think that adds pressure. That adds, like, well, what's the result you're looking for? I know you might looking for everlasting love, but on the way there, twirl, be happy, be excited. Not like, oh gosh, this isn't working. That's not the energy, and let me tell you, I can apply this to like money. People are like, oh my gosh, the bills are here. Be thrilled you have the money to pay the bills. Be thrilled that you have, like you have the app. Like be excited about these things because the energy, the words, the feelings that you're putting out there, it really affects how, the effects of it. It really affects how you feel about it. It affects the outcome of it. Be excited you could do the things that you can do and don't judge either one. You could do both.
And if you can afford a matchmaker, be thrilled that you can afford a matchmaker.
Exactly.
And invest in that. And look, and then some people will be like, I can't afford a matchmaker. Some of you can actually afford a matchmaker. It's more about prioritizing it. Okay.
Right.
So keep that in mind. And next week, we will be bringing Tana. You remember Tana from the Duo and Love Match Atlanta. She will be dropping by for our special Valentine's Day live, where she'll be answering your questions as well and giving you guys tips for dating and love, like life coach Keisha. But if you would like to book a session with Keisha, more information on life coach Keisha will be available in the description. You will get a free 30-minute consultation plus 15% off when you use the code Kempire. So more information on Keisha will be available in the description, and be sure to follow her on Instagram. That is also available in the description. All right, so let me save some of your questions. Live chat, if you do have a question for myself or Keisha, please post it in the comments section with the Q and semicolon so that I can see that it's your question, and I will save it and we'll talk about it after Ariana. So Ariana's backstage. We're going to bring Ariana up next. Ariana, what's going on?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yes, I can. How are you all?
Good, thank you.
Good. Okay, so I called it. Well, Keisha, you don't know, but I called in last time, talked to Kempire a little bit, and he told me to actually pay attention to the apps and get out and stuff, which I did. I did go on a date. It was cool.
In a week? Go ahead, Ariana.
Yes. But yeah, it was cool. But I kind of I didn't say too much after. I kind of want to leave that more in their hands. But then I have one on Monday too. So
okay.
Different person. Yeah. When I opened up the app, it was 300 people in there. So I had to really, I didn't go through everybody, but I answered a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm getting out there, and then I have a happy hour event that my friend's throwing that I'm going to go to. So I am putting myself out there a little bit,
Hey, I love that. And I think it's important because the man or the woman or whatever is not going to show up to your door sometimes.
Well, someone in the chat said that, and I was like, I really wish they would.
Same.
Right.
But then I wanted to, so that's my update that I mentioned in one of the other lives. But then I did want to say a little story because of our earlier caller. I forgot her name, but I know she was 24 and also in the DMV area. Yes, and with a dude who wasn't doing. With my ex, this is the catalyst of us breaking up, but I had a game night at my house. I had 25 of my friends over. It was a really big event. I planned it for a month or two. It was Olympic themed. It was so awesome, right? So then that morning, he started a fight with me. I don't know why. He just started a fight with me. And he was like, if you don't want me to come, I don't have to come. And I'm like, who said that? Well, I really didn't understand it, right? So then when he comes, he's helping me out or whatever, then everyone comes. And then he starts getting an attitude with me, maybe an hour within the party. And I'm checking in on him. I'm like, are you okay? How are you doing? Mind you, I'm 26. This man is 30. Okay. So, I'm checking in. Well, at the time I was 25. But yeah, so I'm checking in on him, like, is everything okay? He's like, yeah, yeah. So then we're having these games, blah, blah, blah. Like 3 hours, like the party's been going on for like 4 hours now. And we're playing this game. Oh, it's by Tyrell, the Terrell Show. I know you effing lion, if y'all know. It's fun game for your friends. And he didn't like hear the rules properly or whatever. And we were like telling him like, oh, you need to say one more like item or whatever. We still have like time. And then he starts yelling at me. Like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I did it right. You guys aren't listening, blah, blah, blah. And like, he like flipped the switch. He like stormed out of the party. So anyways, then the party ends. Everyone had a great time though. So I'm like, whatever.
Hi, Ariana.
Kempire, he's a Taurus.
Okay, move on.
He's an April 1 in April 1.
Oh, exactly.
To justify anything.
It's too late at night to upset Kempire. Okay, so the party ends, like all my friends cheer for me. We have a great time, Kempire. Like it's really so good. So then everyone leaves and then I go up to my room, to like unwind for the night. And he just starts yelling at me again, like saying I don't care about him, I don't love him, blah, blah. I didn't pay any attention to him that night. Mind you, I'm entertaining 25 other people. So then like I was like, okay, you're like crashing out right now. We're not doing this. So I leave. Or like mind you, it's my house, but I leave to sit on the porch, like that's my little like safe space. And then he comes out and he's like storming out. He's like, I'm gonna leave, blah blah. I'm gonna drive. Like I'm driving home, da da da. Mind you, he was drunk, so I told him you can't drive. He almost hit me with his car, Kempire. Because I tried to stop him because I was a good person. And yeah, yes. So then he gets out. I call my friend. She comes back to like try and stop him. And he's like calling me every name and doing all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, yeah, that was the last time I saw him. So yeah. But I say this to say that like this was not the first time he acted like kind of insane. And like I really tried to be like an understanding and like forgiving person or whatever. And I had never been that type of person before him. And like I realized that like I changed how I view things to like accommodate this person, which is not smart. And then that led me to situations that were unsafe for me and that I shouldn't have been in. And then, so this is to the earlier caller, D. Nicole, that like as we grow up, because I'm only 2 years older, but like you have to like really stand firm in your boundaries. And the moment that you don't do it are the moments that you regret, which you really shouldn't have regrets in life. And yeah, I literally had this conversation with my therapist this morning. So yeah, when she was talking and I was like, oh my gosh, like that was me. And yeah, it's just like something to share. And this is a reminder to fix your son's mothers. Okay.
You do that all the time, Aria.
I do because I say that because I used to talk to his mom a lot and she never checked him. Like she just let him do whatever he wanted all the time. And that's not okay. Like some people need to be told, like, it's not okay. It's not okay. Like his mom had like, yeah, she called me after the first time he acted a fool. Was like, he's not like that. Like, yeah. So, and she was talking about his mom too. And I'm like, see, look. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's all.
But thank you for the update. Keep us posted on these dates and in these little functions that you're going to. I do want to ask, I do want to ask Keisha your thoughts on meddling mothers or mothers that do not hold their sons accountable. Like, what's your perspective on situations like that?
Well, I mean, that's a very touchy subject and also deep. It's it's about your personal boundaries. You have to set them because people will overstep. You have to have those, hard and fast. Like they will meddle, but you're like, if you set your boundaries, they'll know not to call you. If you set your boundaries, they know that they cannot say certain things to you. It's not rude. It's not disrespectful. You're in a relationship with, in this situation, her son. And you could just very politely say, I am not discussing this with you right now. Set your boundaries. You don't have to justify his bad behavior, and you certainly don't need her to call and justify his bad behavior. But I'm going to say this to you, Ariana, because you are young, and to all the other listeners, Guys, trust your instincts. They show you who they are. They behave, you forgive them, and the behaviors just gets worse or it happens more often. And you second guess yourself. Trust your instincts. Get away from these situations as soon as you can. And don't let anybody tell you different. If you feel uncomfortable, that's it. Don't have this mama, doesn't have anybody else call you to tell you he doesn't behave that way. It wasn't his twin that night, it was him.
It was him.
Right. So trust your instincts, okay?
Yeah. Like, I don't know why in those situations you're like, oh, I should listen to other people. Like, that, it's so stupid. Like,
Well, don't judge yourself. I mean, that's part of growing and that's part
yes.
of learning. Is like sometimes we are placed in these situations as as uncomfortable as they may be, so you can learn your own lesson. Because the biggest lesson you learn here is like, I knew that. But don't come from a place of judgment or hate and like, well, I am so this, I'm so that. No, I knew that. I won't do that again, and you move on from it.
Cleopatra says, not his twin or representative.
Correct.
It's him.
It was him. Yeah.
Yes, and it's not just a fleeting moment or just a one-time thing. It'll happen again. It always does.
Yeah.
Ariana, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your experience. Keep us up to date.
Yes.
I will, Kempire. Thank you, Keisha, life coach. Thank you very
Take
much.
care. Nice meeting you.
Have a good night.
You too. Good night.
Good night.
Woo! Okay. First of all, shout out to all the callers, everyone that called in. For those who are watching the replay, we missed you, but stay tuned. Next week, we will be live again with our special guest, Tana from Love Match Atlanta. You know, she is a licensed matchmaker as well. So she will be helping all of us single folk next Friday on Valentine's Day. For those that don't have plans, that will be our plan, okay? But life coach Keisha is here giving you guys some of her perspectives, and this is just a sample of what you will get from meeting with her. You will get a free 30-minute consultation plus 15% off with the code Kempire. More information on Life Coach Keisha will be available, including her email, so you can set up an appointment. But also be sure to follow her on Instagram as well. And if you haven't liked the video yet, that's an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels that talk about similar topics. And don't forget, an audio version of tonight's live will be available on the Kempire podcast. Be sure to subscribe today if you haven't already. And of course, today's live is being sponsored by our friends over at Rose Forever. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, but 2025, as we've been telling you, is the year of self-care. So a little beautiful something in your home will definitely help you. It will make you feel better. And when you feel better, that gives off the energy that you're welcoming in love, not just to yourself, but to others. So do that, a little something for you. Okay, we had a couple more questions, and then we're going to round this out. Okay.
And if you won't, let me add to that.
Yeah.
If you don't do something nice and loving and special for yourself, who else will? Teach people how to treat you. If you keep buying you flowers, somebody else will buy you flowers one day.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Jenna said this in regards to when we were talking about the man showing up at your door. Jenna says, don't wish that. My husband came to my housewarming with a mutual friend. It was a cute story at first. Now I'm divorcing him. Look, it doesn't always end up that way, Jenna. Okay. All right. Jenna's backstage. I should bring her up and ask her more questions about that.
Right.
Jenna.
I didn't really think you were going to do it. Hi, I just drinking some water.
Can you just a little bit more about that? If you don't want to, it's fine.
Yes. No, it's fine. So it was a nice story. It's like a quintessential meet cute. And literally when people were saying that, I was like, in my situation, somebody said it. I was like, if only I could meet a man in my living room. And then I did meet a man in my living room. So a mutual friend asked if she could bring her friend, let's call him Lamar, to a party. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, you should bring him. And I thought I knew who she was talking about because I would always see her with her gay best friend, a guy that I knew, and he was funny and sweet. And I was like, you should bring him. And then I know she lives far away too, and then she commutes. So I was like, oh, of course, bring him. And I'm a very come one, come all type of Aquarian. Like, I like bring people in my space, but then get out when it's time for you to leave. And so then I was just like, come on. So and this guy that I know, he's like super petite. And Kempire, you met me before. We're about the same height. Then she walked in with this tall, beautiful man who was 6'4", and I was like, that is not her friend. And so I was like, that's not the friend I thought it was. I was like, girl. After the party, I was like, so are you dating him? And she was like, no. I was like, so y'all not together? I was like, run me his number. And it was a mutual thing where we liked each other and
Mm.
stuff like that. And we felt the connection, but it went south and we've been together since like 2014. So, we've been together for some time, but things change sometimes after you get married. Things change when you become parents. And I think one of the things that changed, and I was listening to some of the stuff that people were saying, is that I clocked it right after we got married. We had an argument about something, and he tried to say, and I put my foot down. And so after I was done laughing in his face, because I was like, that's ridiculous, I was like, oh, you try to act brand new. This should be interesting. And it has been. So yeah. Without saying too much. But yeah, that's
Okay. So now you're slowly but surely getting back out into the dating world after this.
Oh no, remember I was saying I'm not trying to date nobody. I'm trying to date myself. So I want to date myself and
Which
make
is
sure
good.
make sure I'm developing myself. I pretty much always mention my baby when I call. She's always right next to me. So I'm like one of the other callers, and some of the other moms who called who's very wrapped up in their child. But I'm also trying to be very conscious of making sure that I still do stuff that interests me. I still do stuff that develops me. Even when I went to the first Kempire Live show, we came to New York. It was sort of technically our birthdays are close together, me and my daughter. So it's sort of for her birthday and my birthday. But so we went to the American Girl doll place in New York, and that was fun and that was kid friendly. But I left her at home at the hotel with her dad to go to the Kempire show. And so I'm trying to make sure I still do stuff for my interests. I left that little girl right in suburbia while I went to Hawaii a couple weeks ago. She'd be
Mhm.
all right. And that was actually my first vacation, but solo that wasn't for work, didn't involve her, since she's been born and she just turned 5. So it was nice to finally get away. So I'm trying to do these things, make sure I'm developing my interests and stuff like that. And I'm still looking at, developing myself and my friend group, because I could see myself being one of these women that's we don't want to be married. Maybe we just want to be fabulous and take our vacations, have our friend groups, do Friendsgiving, Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day, or whatever. And then maybe Kempire, I can be your lavender wife one day. We'll see. But we'll see. So but just making sure I'm open to making sure that I'm a whole person. I'm not, just my daughter's mother. I'm not
Mm.
just my mother's daughter who I'm supposed to take care of her. I'm not just the caregiver. I also have to care for myself.
Right.
All
And
these
how
things, but don't let
important.
me go on a run. Yeah.
Yeah. Good for you. How do you feel saying that when you hear yourself speak that? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel inspired? How do you
Yeah.
feel?
It makes me excited. I know, I understand more now. When I was in my 20s, I knew a woman that I worked with. When she heard somebody was getting divorced, she would always say, "Congratulations," and "I'm sorry," because it's most people with some sense don't get to this point lightly, especially when you're legally married in this country.
Mm.
They make it very difficult to extricate yourself, even when it's a bad situation. So
Mm.
it's obviously you thought about this a lot and a lot of steps went into it, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel because I know we can't exist as we are. And so I just feel better things are coming kind of thing. So it makes me feel excited because I think my life will be better. And when I think it's 100% true, what a lot of people say, it's if your mother's happiness is a big indication of how happy you are.
Right.
So it's I don't have time to be dour and sour and upset because I have to pour down. Do I have to pour into myself? But I have to pour into this little Black girl. So she will know that she's fabulous and wonderful and she can be happy and full of light and joy. I ain't got
Mm.
time for foolishness.
Right.
Mm.
And you don't need anyone to fill your cup. You could do it yourself.
Yes, amen. So I have to work on that more and more. I say these things, but everybody has their dark moments. So sometimes
Right.
I don't always feel it. But like I was saying earlier, I do my affirmations. So I try to say these things and make sure I believe them and I'm doing them.
Right, absolutely. I'm proud of you and thank you for sharing that. And I
Thank
also
you.
love how you started the story that you did meet him in your living room because that's the truth too because to Cam's point earlier it's you have no idea where he, she or it is. So if you tell yourself he's never going to come to the door, guess what? He may not come to the door. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
every part of your story is an inspiration. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
And I'm
Well,
sure
thank
there
you
were
for letting me
some
share.
amazing things that you've created with this person that you do not regret.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. There's there's things I'm never going to regret like some parts of my story. There are things that I wish they had turned out a different way. And sometimes I talk like I'm like, this is fine. It's like, I just took his sperm and made it better because I made it into a baby. But obviously, like, you need the key ingredients from the other person to make the little perfect, wonderful child that we have. So, there's those things, but I like to be not have toxic positivity. But because I also like to call a spade, I'm okay with saying what it is if something is trash. But it's, but also I can see the silver linings. And
I want to also piggyback on that too, guys, and thank you again for sharing that. It's like sometimes these situations happen so we learn how to fill our cup. That's 99% of the time, all these things and situations happen to us because we need to learn how to fill our cup.
And I think, and that's part of what I wanted to say earlier, because I didn't want to get too deep and take up too much time, because I'm aware that some of this is happening. It's partly because like I met him in a different space in my life before. And I think he probably doesn't realize it's this way, but sometimes people get used to you being smaller so that they can feel bigger. And, so even though I still need to do work on myself, I like myself a lot more than I used to. I feel more confident than I used to. My self-esteem is higher.
Wow.
And it's so like, and there are ways that I've grown and progressed. And like, sometimes like they say people grow apart. And if you're not willing to grow with a person, it's like, well, what are we going to do?
Right.
And
but I love that. By the way, you said, I like myself. Guys, that's as simple as an affirmation you need. I like myself. I like who I'm becoming.
There's actually two gentlemen that they came to my baby shower. They gave my baby a book because I asked everybody to bring the baby a book to the baby shower and write a note in it. And they gave a book with a cute little black girl on the cover of it, and it's called "I Like Myself." And it goes like, I like myself. I love being me. There's no one else I would rather be. Wow. And it's just such a cute book. And I read it with my daughter often because I want her to know that she should love herself first, love all the stuff about her. Like there's a line that's like, even if I have stinky breath or like purple polka dotted cheeks and stuff like that, it's just a very cute book. And I like that mantra of and at the end, it's like, I like myself because I'm me.
Right.
And it's very sweet.
Should we all not put that up tonight? I like myself because I'm me. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for letting me share again, y'all. This has been fantastic.
Thank you, Jenna.
All right. Y'all take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, did you have something else to say, Jenna? I'm sorry.
No, I just said, let me go email Keisha.
Looking forward to it.
Keisha, thank you so much for doing this and spending so much time with us. I don't want to always take up our guest time like this, and I hope you will come back and answer more questions. But again, guys, if you want a personal session with life coach Keisha, again, her information, her email, her contact information is available. Her Instagram is available in the description. Be sure to go follow her as well. We did have a couple of comments and questions that I wanted to run. Okay, everybody trying to be my lavender wife. Justin says, not me Googling lavender wife. I am cackling. Apparently, I have a lot of people when I hit the age of 94, if I'm not in love finally, that want to be my lavender wife, meaning that we will be partners and that is it. No sex, nothing else. Okay. All right. I have a lot of candidates. Okay. Let me see. Lee says, I'm going to send my messy coworker over to life coach Keisha.
Thank you, Lee.
EW says, really enjoyed this live. I feel like I have actionable steps I can take.
That's great.
I love that. N-Dub says, I fret over choosing pictures for an app and writing the bios. What would be your advice for people that are deciding to take the step of going on an app and filling out those apps?
Well, I would say you're probably nervous about the whole step, so put anything and you can always edit. It is not set in stone. It's probably just going on the app is the anxiety, and you're adding all this other stuff. Just go on there. You could change the bio 12 different times. You could change every picture. Just try it. Be free, enjoy it. And remember, guys, it's dating or it's just an app. It's not permanent if you don't want it to be. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy it. Just go be lighthearted about it. You don't have to go with a list of like expectations. That does come, but just enjoy the moment of it.
Yeah.
It's just dinner sometimes, just like that. Basic. It's just dinner.
One thing I will say, because I've had this, that's been my critique of a lot of profiles is just make sure that your face is clearly in the pictures. Not one with a mask, not a side view, not with sunglasses. Just make sure that at least it's a clear picture of your
Right.
face.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And like Keisha said, you can always go back and edit and add more, but take time with it. Very much like anything in your life,
Right.
take your time with it. Put love into it. If you're trying to reap the rewards of a love in someone that's taking time with you, put that effort and love and care into the profile. So take your time with it. It's not a rush.
Right. And it's for you. So why not take your time?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
All right. We had another question. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any here. Okay. Okay. Oh, wait. Didi says, doing these lives on Fridays made me realize that I'm not the only one at home on a Friday night. So much fun. There are a lot of people, and a lot of people can share similar stories and experiences, and you all are learning from each other. So this will be our final question, and then we're going to go. If you haven't liked the video already, be sure to like. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. And if you haven't followed Life Coach Keisha on Instagram, go click the link in the description and go follow her. And also, it doesn't hurt. For those that may have been thinking to themselves, oh, I don't need a life coach. A free 30-minute consultation is not going to be, it's not going to hurt. It might be life changing. So consider it. Okay. Virgo Vibration says, what if you don't know how to define your life because it's not just yours? I know how to run and leave, but once I had kids, I had to plant my feet, which is foreign to me.
Well, I will let you know this, Virgo Vibration. It is your life. They are all guests in your life. Now, they are important guests in your life, but it's your life first. And remember, to all of the moms, dads, and families out there, you're setting an example to all these little ones that are looking at you. So if you're not clear on your expectations of what your life should be, what lesson are you teaching them who are paying attention to every little detail that goes on in this house? You have to map your life out, be clear about it, and live it. And let them see the imperfect days and the perfect days. Let them see the storms. Explain these things to them, because life isn't perfect, but you need to be clear and know that you're living your life. Your actions do affect other people's lives in that home, but you still are living your life. And be clear about that and set an example for those in your home.
Yeah. And you being a Virgo, you know how to plant your feet. I know there are probably other aspects to your astrological signs that makes you probably like, but you know how to plant your feet. And there's nothing wrong with planting your feet. And as we've been saying throughout this entire live, is that just because you have children, yes, aspects of your life has changed.
Right.
You haven't changed.
Right.
And your kids are watching. They're watching your resilience. They're watching the decisions that you make. So be mindful of that. And remember, pouring into yourself, living your best life is going to make them automatically live their best lives.
Right.
Keep that in mind.
Teach them to value their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The other one who talked about Friday night at home. I was like, hey, I'm excited to be home. I love being home. My home's my palace. I'm just, so don't be ashamed that you're home on a Friday night, so enjoy it.
I forgot it was Friday.
Right.
Jenna says, Kemp, we have a Discord, right? I need more combos with my friends in the chat. Jenna, do you not have the link to the Discord? I'll post it. Are you a member, Jenna? I should ask Jenna. Jenna, are you a member? Jenna, come back to the phone, Jenna. Or let us know in the live chat. Because I'll post it for the public. But we want to continue to have the Discord be a safe space. If you're not a member, maybe we can post the link so that someone can send you the link via email. She is a member. Thank you, Foxy. I'll post it again in the community tab on YouTube. We posted it the other day, but it's only for like a week. The link is good. Okay. So Dr. Annie said this will be our last comment that we're going to go. Dr. Annie says, and fellas, please have a full body picture and not that side angle picture. Meeting in person is so much better, in my opinion. I said that goes for everyone. Be fully transparent. You want people to love you just the way that you are, with every crevice. Okay. So be honest from the jump. If they don't like you, let them make that judgment before they even meet you.
Right. And if they do make that judgment, you don't want to meet them.
Exactly.
Right. We're about being real in 2025, not perfect, guys.
That part. First of all, Keisha, thank you so much for being here and sharing your life, your experience, and your expertise. We appreciate that. Dr. Annie, thank you for becoming a member as well. Thank you to everyone that decided to call in today and share their experience. Those of you that are watching the replay of this, be sure to share your thoughts. I'm sure Keisha will be in the comment section taking a look at what you guys have to say. So be kind. We do not moderate adults here. You will be blocked. But I'm more sensitive when you guys comment on our guests, so you will get blocked. So be very mindful of what you say. Anyways, Keisha, thank you so much for being here. Any last thoughts before we go?
I want to say thank you. You have a great community. Everyone seems that they're very loving and open. And I have to say thank you as well for providing a safe space. People people have challenges out there that they want to talk about. So I think it's really nice that you give them a platform and a place that's safe and protected for them to, feel comfortable enough to say these things to us. So thank you very much for having me. And I look forward to the next time.
Most definitely. Guys, again, don't forget to follow Keisha. All of her information, including her email, her Instagram, will be available in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well if you haven't already. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast. The podcast version of tonight's live will be available tomorrow on the Kempire podcast. So subscribe today. And of course, thank you to our King's Guards for holding us down in the live chat. We appreciate them as well. Again, thank you all for being here. Everyone have a fantastic night. See you all later. Thanks for tuning in to the Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. As always, don't forget to give the Kempire podcast a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. We're trying to get to 1,000 reviews on both platforms. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, download, and share the Kempire podcast.